Okay, guys. We're here. It's getting heated, but I love it. It's all good fun, okay? We're talking music. We got KIEFER here. He's been watching you guys go nuts. He's an SD native, for those of you that don't know.
Yeah, man.
So we're here talking music. What up, KIEFER?
What's up, Louie? Dude, so happy to be here, man.
Good to see you.
I'm honored to be included in the San Diego scene for just a moment.
Are you kidding me? Come on.
You know, I am from here. I'm a big fan of you. I love this discussion so much.
It's great.
I'm obsessed with it.
It's all in good fun. People are getting heated, but it's just, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, I think the way it looks on social media, it always looks more heated than it actually is. But whenever I talk to you about it, it's all in good fun. I think again, people in the comments might think that it's getting crazy, but honestly, for everyone who doesn't know, Louis is a chill ass guy, and he's just having fun with it. And we're nerds, dude. We're just nerds.
That's the thing, is at the end of the day,
sue us, we're nerds.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So KIEFER was seeing some of the stuff. He called me today, and he's like, "Hey,
I'm fired up."
He's fired up. He's got opinions. And I was like, well, jazz prove it. Let's go, baby.
Jazz prove it, as they say.
So we were chatting on the phone. And what were you saying? We were talking about all sorts of stuff.
Well, okay. I mean, the first thing I want to say about this is that when Louis says, I mean, I can just talk to you directly. When you say there's no such thing as a minor one, the way I interpret that is that the minor one is just a made up concept, and at least for me, nothing, these are just words. Music theory is just words. I think that was actually what somebody wrote in a comment. That's what I said. Hilarious. No, that's what you said.
And I was like, bro, these are all just words.
It is. They are just words.
Uh-huh.
And music theory is this is not backed by science. This is not a universal. It's always funny when people talk about music theory. There's always this assumption that there's a right or wrong, and that the laws of the universe will support or not support your view. But that's actually not how it works. These are literally, it's man-made. It's all man-made. I mean, some people would even go as far as to say that our tuning system, entirely being man-made, is actually not the most harmonious. I happen to like our tuning system, but that's what some people would say.
So, I mean, in terms,
so even the just at the from jump, whatever we say about minor this, major that, you could even criticize our very system on which all of that is based and say none of this is valid at all.
Yeah, and you're referring to the harmonic series and how equal temperament.
Some people like Jacob Collier would make the argument that there's actually a more quote unquote stable system of harmony we could be using, where the major third is tuned differently,
right,
etc.
Right.
Now, I don't work with those parameters when I make my music, but I think that's a valuable viewpoint.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, the whole equal temperament thing is kind of interesting because of the way it works, and I don't know. It's I guess for me, I'm more focused on what we were saying, these functional harmony tunes, just the way music is happening. That's what we study and love. So it's over the years, my whole argument is I've learned so much from these church musicians that now that I feel like I can actually hear these chords and these movements.
Yeah.
It drastically helped me in the jazz world.
Yeah.
And so applying some of these concepts really helps me, but saying it online just makes people furious.
It makes them furious, dude. Okay, wait. So now bringing it a little closer to what is the minor one? What's the minor six? What's the difference? For me, what makes the terminology so valuable about having the minor, just thinking of it as a minor six as opposed to its own one, is that it's just less stuff to know. And then it also just reinforces the concept of relative major and minor. And to be honest, I haven't really even gotten into it as deep as you have. I still haven't gotten into calling it a 7-3-6, for instance. I'll still be oh, it's a minor 2-5-1.
Yeah, me too.
But when I saw that post, I was like, this is anybody who doesn't see the value in what Louis talking about here is just hasn't thought about it very much. And that's just, and again, that's just like, I'm not saying that it's like the one right way,
right?
But it's to say that it's not a valuable way to think of it is, I think, a little disingenuous. It just means, I don't know. That's just what I think.
Yeah. I mean, for me, when I remember when I finally realized, oh wow, like Summertime's from the 6. Oh, I see now. Okay. So it's like, you start, because you call this song at a session, you're like, can we play Summertime? Sure. What key you want playing? The first question, or once you say C, the first question after that,
yeah, major or minor.
Which inherently means, are you saying it's the 1 or the 6? Because we all know that's what it is.
Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah. And also there's the 2 most common keys to play that tune in.
I'm just saying.
That's so funny.
And to me, it's like if you take all the words away and we just listen and someone was to play it, I would sit there and I would be like, oh, he's in A. Oh, it's A minor. Oh, that's 6 of C. Oh, I see where we are. Okay, it goes to the second half goes to C major,
right,
which is just 2-5-1. You're going
right.
See, that's the thing is people are like, well, it goes to relative major. I'm like, but that you're just saying that it came from 6. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, dude, I do think there's a really valuable way to thinking of it that way. And to be honest, I've been doing it this way pretty much my whole career. Because, like, I never, like, for example, I never learned my modes, really.
Okay.
Just talking about, like, me personally. The concept, though, is obviously understood.
Right.
But, or rather, I should say, I never practiced them.
Okay.
Like, I never was, like... And this might be a very like piano-y thing to say. Okay. Like I never went like, oh, Dorian for example, E flat Dorian. Oh, I have to go D flat major, but now I just have to start on E flat, and right, now I got to run that scale. It was just like, oh, just these 7 and start here, and like, and years later, and I mentioned this to you on the phone. Years later, when I like started checking out Barry Harris a lot, that was something that he said. He was like, dude, what are these modes that people are talking about? Because, and according to him, he was like, dude, we didn't even talk about this stuff pre-1955 or whatever.
So I haven't gone down the Barry Harris rabbit hole in a while, but I remember
that's like my whole,
this.
That's the whole way I think of everything.
I love it, because I remember coming back to it after he died. And I went down the rabbit hole again, and I remember seeing like, oh wow, he's talking about the flat, the flat 6 and how his whole thing, and that really resonated with me. Like the second time, I was like, oh, because I have a lecture called Flat 6. It's God's Note. That's what I call it. Mm-hmm. My buddy Sean.
Hell yeah, that. Dude. I will actually tell you why it is God's Note. Not I'll actually show you why.
Okay, go.
Well, dude. Okay. Well. Okay. First off, just talking about functionally what A flat does, and this will relate back to A minor because again, that's really what differentiates the dominant chord in A minor from its own diatonic scale.
Right?
Isn't that interesting?
100%.
Yeah, it was funny when people were like in the comments and by the way, I'm not trashing the minor 1 as an idea.
No, it's great. We still hear it like that.
It's just a made up idea.
Yeah.
Like everything else in harmony.
Yes.
It's a made up idea. That's the point. Okay, at least for me.
That's great.
I don't mean to put words in your mouth. That's what I think. But anyway.
I agree.
But like one of the arguments I saw was like, well, if A minor is just the 6 of C major, then what about E7? E7's not a C major. And then I would be like, well, it's not an A minor either. That doesn't differentiate between the two concepts. Okay.
100%.
But then if you said, oh, well, what about A harmonic minor? I'd be like, okay, valid. But also, what about the major diminished 6th scale?
Okay.
Which is the Barry Harris scale. And I think this kind of groups, this is kind of, for me, this is like an idea that like puts everything together.
Okay.
And then Barry Harris just so happened, bringing it back to what's God's Note, Barry Harris happened to be really into concepts like the Holy Trinity and all of these things.
That's my favorite
and how it relates.
Yep.
Also, dude, this is going to go to so many places. Whatever. Okay, so here's the Barry Harris scale, right? Is it playing on the piano there?
I don't know if it is. Damn it.
Oh, wait. Go on VMPK. It looks like it's just on the thing, and just make sure. Oh, okay. Oh, we're good. Okay. Yeah,
it's working. Okay, go.
So, yeah, basically, Barry Harris says instead of having a 7-note major scale, we should have one more in there. We should have A flat.
Dude, yes.
And I love this scale so much. One of the things I love about it, like the whole, idea of a scale. Why do we have scales? Is that these are notes that for one reason or another, we can get into why, but I won't go there. For one reason or another, this is a harmonic palette that goes together well. Okay, I think it's a very fair, just
I'm in.
Melodically and harmonically works. And speaking diatonically about the key of C, or maybe not even diatonically yet, but just like the different things that happen in C. You know, we've got 2 major 7s, we've got 3 minor 7s, we've got a half diminished, we've got a dominant chord. But then also there are things that happen in C that are very common. So for example, like F minor but see, look at this. I'm already playing it naturally with a C in the bass because this is how I think of everything, dude. I'm telling you, it's going to be consistent. I'm about to be real fucking consistent. Excuse my language.
Just prove it.
Okay. A G7 flat 9, an E7, which goes to A. Also like a D half diminished. Okay, lots of different things. Not to mention the diminished chords. And so there's a reason why I love this scale so much. There's a lot of reasons why. One of them is that, you know, A flat is so integral to so many different aspects of harmony in C. One of them is that it is the 5 of the 6, which you could just also call the 3.
Thank you.
Dude, the more I get into it, like for example, oh man, dude, the more I get into it. So for example, how often do you see this chord? Like if you're playing like an F, like this, like a diminished major 7, you could call it.
Okay.
But it has this in here. But like this, to me, the scale for this would just be F Lydian. And this chord has a G and an A flat and an A.
Yeah.
You know? So something I was gonna wait to coin this, but you know how you say there's no such thing as a minor 1?
Go.
I was gonna say there's a flat 3 and a Lydian chord, is what I'm gonna say. But anyway. Also, but then yeah, same thing with like this is C major as well. You know, it has an A flat and a G. Like C major has an A flat in it to me, and I could even do something crazy like this. I could go like where I have literally A flat, and G. And that still sounds like C major.
I'm so jealous of you piano players.
But anyway, okay. But all this to say, really, what differentiates A minor and C major to most people is that problem.
Okay.
Is that the 5 for A minor is so different than the 5 to its counterpart, C major.
Right.
Because now you have this other note that actually isn't really like diatonic to its own key. Mm-hmm. Why we need to solve that problem. Like if we don't like deal with that issue, there's just this huge gap in like why.
Can I tell you what?
I would say the Bare Hairspray is the way to solve that.
For me, that A flat. For
G
me,
sharp, whatever.
Well, yeah, whatever.
I don't even know if I'm using the right one.
Whatever.
By the way.
Yeah. That sound to me, like, to me, I feel like it's all about the blues sound, and to me, that idea is the blending. Like when you play a blues, you're playing a C triad, let's just say.
Sure. And
you play E flats and B flats.
Yes.
Because that sounds great. That's the essence of, right? That's
totally.
So to me, that whole layering of what I call parallel playing, whatever you want to call it, C major, C minor, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
But that A flat is very crucial. And there's so many songs that you'll be playing in major, and then all of a sudden you play minor 4. You play all these chords that have A flat in it.
Yeah.
And it just sounds so good to me.
Yeah.
And it's just that, like, I feel like I always say flat 6 is the gateway to parallel minor. And it's like you play.
Which one's parallel minor? Oh, that's like going to like say like E flat major from C major.
I'm just saying, like, if we went to me, I hear that as like C major and then you play C minor.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
But you can play all these chords. You can play C major, and then the minute you start playing A flat, and you come down, it's like you can resolve to C minor. And a lot of church songs do this. I mean, jazz tunes do this too all the time.
Yeah.
But to me, that whole sound, I really love hearing, like, when I realized that the A flat and that parallel playing is like, all these jazz tunes do it. For example.
Totally. Go ahead.
For example, if we're thinking, let me think here. Let's think of like, I mean, to be honest, the intro to Joy Spring.
Oh, okay. You're going to have to.
It doesn't matter.
Remind me how it goes.
But it's like ba-do-ba, ba-ba-ba, ba-do-ba, da-da, ba-ba-ba-da-da.
Right.
Anyways, the whole point is like we're in F major for the song, but that whole intro is like this F minor idea. It's really hip. And it's like all these cool songs, especially like the hard bop stuff, you can see them playing with this idea of meshing. Here's another example. I've been playing Horoscope recently, the Horace Silver tune.
Right.
And I love that tune because he plays, it's in D flat, and he's playing D flat, 7, sharp 9, and he plays a bunch of like D flat minor.
Dude, can we
notes.
listen to it?
Yeah.
Let's listen to it.
And he plays D flat minor, and he plays D flat major. And it's like the whole play is that blending of like, it's just really cool. And I guess to me, I started realizing this, and it helped me so much to like just figure out what's going on and hearing it and playing over it.
Can you type in the Wi-Fi password for me,
yeah.
brother? Hell yeah, brother. Dude, I love this. Sorry, continue.
Let's see if that works.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah. Okay.
But I guess it's just like I have lists of songs. Where's my phone? Here we go.
Yeah, show me. So what was, you said Horoscope?
Horoscope. That's kind of a more, newer one. I haven't done a video on it yet, but
okay.
I just really like the whole idea.
Well, tell me your list. I want to know if there's one I know like off rip, because to be honest, like my standards and my like Blue Note catalog is not as well known as I used to know it.
No, it's totally all sorts of shit. Here we go. Hang on, let me find it.
Dude,
I got too many folders.
Dude, also I have something else for you too, with like just like. Because we're kind of talking about two different idioms too, and that's the other thing. That's the other thing I would say is like music's cultural, like, and so when we talk about theory, like the way it might not apply to like certain cultural, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because again, like our 12-note scale isn't even the right scale for like say Indian classical music,
right? It's different. Yeah.
And then getting just within like our own country's history, there's Black American music, there's the European classical influence, there's all these different things. And so like, but I would say like, when someone talks about the blues, a lot of this goes out the window pretty quickly, because like there's also like microtonality, which isn't even addressed on my instrument.
Right.
There's so many other elements. And so to be clear, for me, I'm going to be talking about like the harmony of like Chopin or Bach, and then also that same harmony that is being used by like Bud Powell, Thelonious Monk, Barry Harris. But once we go into the blues, which they also used, it's like it's a little different. But go ahead. Sorry. All
right. So the simplest way to start with this is what I use is Tenor Madness.
Tenor Madness.
It's a blues, right?
Okay.
Ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba ba da. To me, when I finally realized like, oh, it's B flat, you start on the melody note's a D, D ba ba da, D flat ba da, D da ba da ba da ba ba da, D flat ba da ba ba. You know what I'm saying? Because we're in B flat. But I guess like I have a video about what the blues is, and I use an excerpt from Wynton Marsalis. It's like a minute excerpt, and he says, look, blues is literally major, and then he plays major. And then he says, and then it's minor, and then he plays minor, and then he says, you just blend them, and then he blends them, and he plays the blues.
Right.
And to me, I feel like that idea is parallel playing. So, for example, if we take Joy Spring, we already said that in the intro. Let's take, I have Joy Spring, Speak No Evil, Janine, Nardis, Black Nile, Night in Tunisia, Daoud, Shade, kind of Tenderly. That one does it too. Summer in Central Park.
But the way that these are doing that are different to me, because the blues is like a different category to me almost.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like just what about Green Dolphin Street?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
you know how you're at E flat major, and then you do all G flat down. Perfect, right? Yeah. So I feel like the E flat to G flat major, it's like everyone, when you learn it, it's like, oh, you play E flat major, and then they say E flat minor, right?
Actually, wait, sorry, go ahead. I spaced out for a second.
I guess I'm just saying that whole play of major and then you do the same parallel minor, to me, reeks of the blues tendencies.
Sure.
That's my whole
Sure.
Like, I like that sound, and to like once I realized like, oh wow, and I honestly I feel like that minor sound is from the sixth somewhat. Like that's the sound that we hear, in my opinion.
For sure. For sure.
But let me see.
But actually, I think where this tune does that the best is actually in the second 8, where it goes. I mean, already, it already did it.
Right.
I haven't even gotten to the part where I was gonna do it.
Okay.
Actually, but because that's already.
Yeah, you're playing that flat 9 in there.
Yeah. That's in Barry Harris. That would be this scale, 8-note scale here. Okay, anyway, but then it happens here, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What does it go? Right. Okay. I mean, dude, but it's happening there too, because you also go C minor. Like you could even think of that. Oh, dude, actually, the 4 minor is really interesting because if you play it this way, but also you could. I'm gonna go a little too crazy here, but it's also still you could play that major or minor when you get to the 4 minor. Dude, I also haven't played this tune in long enough to like really talk about it that much. But dude, okay, can we back up a little bit?
Go.
Okay, because I do think these are two different things.
Okay.
Because I think for me,
it's fine.
when I talk about the blues, for me, harmony is like so much more flexible there.
Okay.
Because I like, again, yeah, if it's an F chord, if it's an F blues, you can play that with a major 7 like Charlie Parker does. You can play it a dominant 7, which is most typical. You can play minor over if it's a dominant chord. You can do whatever or you can play McCoy Tyner and just do whatever you want the whole time. Like blues is just like whatever to me. It's just like I think it's like such a more flexible like.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like I think that's another thing that's like getting conflated. Like I think when people are talking about like for me like where the minor 1 idea, or rather there is no minor 1 idea, is most valuable is talking about the more like quote unquote European classical like ideas. I think that's where it's most valuable. Okay. Me personally. Because like again, like if you're like playing a standard and it goes, 1 6 2 5 and then like a 2 5 2 the minor 6 or whatever.
So
or 7 3 6.
I do
it's
both,
a great idea.
But I do both. That's the thing is, and people were trying to get at me because they're like, "But you're saying minor 2 5 and 7 3 6." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's both." Like I think it's good to hear them as both because it does sound, in my opinion, you should be able to hear what a minor 2 5 to the 6 sounds like, or a minor 2 5 to the 2.
But then, right?
Because like in tunes,
I'm getting fired up.
Because like in tunes, I remember finally realizing like. For example, I've said this before, but Black Orpheus, on the second half, you do 2 5 to D minor. And I remember always learning that tune, like, why does this sound so good? Why am I able to insert, if we're in A minor, 6 chord of C major, right? Why does the second half sound so good when I play a B flat up top and then I play E half diminished, A7 to D minor? Sure. And then I realized like, oh, wow, it's 2 5 to the 2, which sounds like A minor going to D. It sounds like 1 4, which it should. But I realized that, wow, you play B flats because E, A, D is 7 3 6 and F.
Right.
And you're like, and that's just the 4 chord. We borrow from the 4 all the time. That's
Right,
why when
right,
you go to the
right.
4 in a blues, you play C7. Well, C7 has a B flat. That's why you play B flats.
Right.
And so when I realized, like, oh wow, minor 2-5 to the 2 is just borrowing from the 4 key, 7-3-6. Minor 2-5 to the 3 is just the same thing, but in the borrowing from the 5 key. That's why these sounds.
Yes.
I realized, like, that's why it sounds good.
Yeah.
Because it's blues, baby. You're just borrowing from and it's like we always borrow from 4.
I see what you mean.
We always
I see what
borrow
you mean.
from 5. It's because it sounds good. It's only one note different.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
I just never, when I finally realized, like, oh wow, I can actually hear the difference between these minor 2-5s. It just helped me so much.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
It's like
Totally.
now everything's not a minor 1 chord. Because it's like, okay, well then is every major chord a major 1 chord?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, if you're gonna say that A minor, or if you want to call that natural minor, is its own key, what about the Dorian keys? What about the Phrygian keys? What about the Lydian keys? It's not sustainable.
Right.
That's the thing. It's like, there's only 2 kinds? Why not 7? What's the best number? Is it more? Should we have more of them or should we have less of them? Now, not to say, I think 2 is a manageable number. Mm-hmm. For me, 1 is ideal.
Okay.
Because again, I wish I have 1. It's all relative. And some tunes have 6 as the most prominent chord. And some tunes have the 2. Like, for example, like any Dorian tune or even like a tune that starts on the 2, which there's so many of those.
I have Tangerine, Almost Like Being in Love, Recordame, Invitation, Yearning for Your Love, Love Ballad. Those are more R&B tunes, but
where they start on the 2.
Somewhat. I mean, I think so. I mean, like,
or this tune, I would never think of it as being in this key, but it does. It's because it is in D flat, but it starts on the 2. It's Body and Soul, for instance. But there's so many tunes,
but
not for me. There's a whole bunch of tunes like that where at the end of the tune you'll do a 1-4-3-6 and start on the 2. That's like a very common,
100%,
very common,
100%. And my argument is that
1-7-3-6.
If you don't know how to get there and hear it like that, I just feel like you're not hearing it to its full extent. Is my thing. It's like I feel like when I started really hearing that, I was like it just opened up, and that came from, hearing it like these church guys. I learned all this from my church gig, honestly. And then I applied it to this other, it's like, it just helped me so much.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Dude, for sure. I love the way the church musicians think of this stuff. And yeah, I think a lot of that does come from like classical harmony.
Oh,
like
100%.
a lot of that does come from that, where it's like, just mastering the idea of like thinking diatonically and like, I don't know.
And to me, it's like at the end of the day, what is my ear hearing? Because take away all the words, and if we're just playing, how am I going to perceive these sounds? And to me, when I finally realized hearing them like this, it was just like, dude, I can't get lost now.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to the 6.
You know what it was for me? Same thing. It was my sophomore year of college. I started challenging myself to hear the tonic on every tune.
Yeah.
And I would turn on music, and I wouldn't even
just sing the tonic.
Any kind. Just sing the tonic. And you kind of realize there's 2 tonics. Is this similar to what you're thinking?
I think so.
But basically to say, if the tune was in A minor, I could still hear this as the tonic. I could still hear that.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
And it feels very different from this as its tonic. But this still feels like kind of a tonic to me.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, dude.
If that makes sense.
I totally
So all
understand.
that to say, bring it back to my original point,
Go.
which again I think is slightly different from yours. It's close though. I think that you can do either way.
100%.
But I happen to agree with you. I happen to like thinking of everything relative to the.
Okay, we were talking on the phone, and you were blowing my mind.
It's what you hear
with the monk thing.
Yeah.
Can we go over this real quick?
Yeah. Okay. So again, this is I was literally just this morning watching some Barry Harris videos with my dad, and this is a video I've watched a bunch of times. But he explains midway through the video that Thelonious Monk doesn't think of. He says there's no such thing as. I love how it's very similar to you. He says there's no such thing as a half diminished chord.
Okay.
He says it's a minor 6 with its 6 on the bass. So that would be like
6 of 6,
minor
baby.
6 with D on the bass would be D half diminished. Oh, dude. I'm about to get fired up over here. I'm about to get fired up, Louis.
Please do.
No, but basically, and so I guess the idea is, once again, it just comes down to how you want to think of this stuff. And I think that in Monk's case, one of the reasons why he doesn't like to think of this as its own chord is because of how unstable it is. Like, dude, we've been making music for a long time. Like, professionally, I've been doing it for not that long. Only 15 years, but us together, probably a combined 30 years. I've never ended a song on a half diminished chord. It's never happened.
That's a great point. I never thought of it like that.
Never happened. Now, that doesn't mean we can't do it.
Right.
Obviously.
But I know what you're saying.
But it's an interesting thing to realize, like, there's a very strong, like, tendency to not do that. It almost never.
Dude, never ever do you resolve.
No, I think it sounds kind of good.
It kind of does sound good, actually.
Right. And I think so. My guess is that maybe Monk didn't consider that its own like thing because it's not like a stable like landing spot where like and yeah, like I don't know. It also again it relates to this scale. And
so the only thing I can think of that would resolve on a half diminished, it's not really half diminished though. Like let's say you're playing a tune and you end on A minor. You can play A minor 6 and then that, F sharp half is half, but you're still playing an A in the bass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you would tend to resolve it and then you would play like A minor. You would the root still sounds like A.
Sure.
You wouldn't really play F sharp. I mean, you could.
It sounds kind of good.
It sounds kind of good.
No one does it.
That's actually interesting. I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think so can I talk about like the Barry Harris stuff
Please
a little bit?
do.
Because I feel like thus far I haven't been very clear.
No, let's do it.
But yeah, basically I think like I believe, and this is for me personally, this is just my approach. But for me, I think the Barry Harris way of thinking of harmony is the most thorough thing I've ever seen. And I think the way I agree with you is through the lens of this. Like that if you have this extra note in here, which by the way, this is another thing I wanted to mention. I'm also really into George Russell. Are you into George Russell?
I'm not gone down too much.
I like motion a circle as I say his name. So basically George Russell, I might be a little inaccurate here, but the idea is that the circle of fifths is like the framework to how to think of all harmony. For instance, if you look at a C major scale or any major scale for that matter, it's 7 consecutive perfect fifths. And that actually, thinking of scales, whole, half, whole, whatever is it, whole, half, whole, half. That's the melodic way to think of a major scale. It's not the harmonic way to think of a major scale.
I see what you're saying. So you're saying you go in all fifths. Right. Uh-huh.
Right. And this is called his Lydian concept. You can look it up. But basically, and I am so with this. Basically, a perfect fifth, and this is supported almost by the overtone series because again we're like ever so slightly out of tune.
Okay.
But the concept is that a perfect fifth is the most stable interval between two dissimilar notes. That is to say, not an octave, right? So, and then if you put 7 in a row, wouldn't that give you the 7 most consonant notes in combination playing with one another? And then if you go, 2 notes 2/5 away, that's also pretty stable. If you go 3 away, that's very stable. If you go 4 away, I forgot to go 1. 1 is G. By the way, put 5 of them in a row. It's a pentatonic scale. That's the most consonant 5-note combination. If you put 6 in a row, it's hexatonic. And now 7 is your major scale.
Okay. I like this.
Very cool.
I like it.
And so, so for me, that also like really puts it really clearly into my mind, like how A minor and C, of course they're the same thing. If you think of them in terms of what I believe them to truly be, which is 7 consecutive perfect fifths in a row, and it's this, and then just whatever is on the bottom is how they differentiate from one another, because it kind of like flips all the overtones differently.
Okay.
And then if you add that A flat, it's really cool. So the best way I could describe this would actually be in the key of B flat,
Okay.
Okay. So if you did B flat, now if you had a circle of fifths diagram, I'll pull one up on my computer for you to look at. Here, let me pull up my circle of fifths diagram. It's just really cool once you add in that A flat, dude.
Should I pull it up on here?
Sure. Or actually, I've got one right here for you to look at.
Okay.
So what's really nifty is that, and I know people can't see it, but you guys can Google it. But if you look at the notes that would be in a B flat scale, that would be E flat, B flat, F, C, G, D, and A, and it'll be the top. It'll be like a little semicircle at the top of the circle. You'll go from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, basically, right? And then once you add that flat 6 interval, it's the one on the bottom. How nice is that? It's like a little umbrella. It's like a cross. It's like God's interval, dude. I promise I didn't do shrooms before this, but it's nice. It's just nice. Now, that doesn't mean, again, none of this is supported by physics, or these are not universal constants of the whatever. Isaac Newton did not ordain this a law of the universe, but it is nice.
That's cool.
There's some nice symmetry there.
Yeah.
And now if you go to what you call the parallel minor or parallel major, you're going to be going, you know, it would be going from, so if you go to the key of E flat, I've got to look at my own thing here, it'd be on the left side of the circle. If it's E flat major, it's going to be, on the bottom end is going to be, oh, sorry, I'm looking at this wrong. Oh, I'm thinking B flat, sorry. We were in B flat major, so now we go a minor third away from there. So that'd be like D flat major. So yeah, basically you're going to be going from, the notes in that would be G flat going all the way up to C now. Does that make sense? The notes of it would be G flat, D flat, A flat, E flat, B flat, F, and C. And it just moves a quarter. But it keeps the same diminished notes, which is nice. C, A, E flat, and G flat. All of this to say, God, this is actually, I'm being more confusing as I'm going. But yeah, so Barry Harris was obsessed with the symmetry of this, and also like the diminished chord, which is really the connecting tissue of all of these things. Yeah. That if you look at the notes of a C diminished chord, which is what would be in that B flat scale, it's on 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. See that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And
also that diminished chord is the way I would get to. You know, that's how you get all those sounds. Yeah. I switched to D flat.
I like it, dude. I like it.
But yeah. And I think so. I think when you dig into that, when you dig into the Barry Harris, and I'll go back to B flat, you can see how this is G minor, because it's of course it is. It's all the same.
It's the same note.
It's just a different, you know, like, and also the end goal, Louis. The end goal when you're playing is not to think of this at all, right?
Right.
You don't think about this when you're actually playing.
No, you're not. Yeah.
So here's what I would say.
Go.
If right now you're thinking of two different ways to think of harmony, eventually when you're performing, you're going to be thinking of zero.
Right.
So meet us halfway and get to one. Just keep simplifying it. Now, I think it's a good place to start. I think it's a great place to start. You start thinking with minor ones, but eventually you're going to be thinking of zero anyways. Like for me, I just see this. I just see these 8. I happen to go with Barry Harris's way. I think of 8 unique notes. And then the bass note moves. If it's A on the bottom, it's still the same. By the way, there's a E flat minor over a G natural minor has a E flat minor in it, by the way. Because it has that, because F sharp should be in there. But anyway.
I love, honestly, man, I love chatting about this stuff because I feel like there's a tendency for, like, I don't know, I feel like I've never really had
something crazy going on outside. We're getting distracted.
I feel like it's good to chat about these things because it's like we get so caught up in trying to emulate these guys, which is what you're supposed to do. Yeah. But I think to say that, like, I just think it's part of the ethos. Like, to say that those guys were not sitting around and chatting and figuring this stuff out is crazy to me.
Oh yeah, of course they were.
That's what they were doing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. I was literally talking to one of my friends recently, and again, I just want to. The point of me bringing this up is to talk about. I just want to bring up how important it is to talk about this stuff in a way that it's like this is fun, dude.
Yeah.
And again, like, this is not based on any like universal law of whatever. This is for fun. And but I was literally talking to a friend of mine 2 days ago, who he actually had a falling out with one of his teachers over some harmonic disagreement. Now, that's not to say that's the way to go. You don't do that. Mm-hmm. But the point is that, yeah, people are going to have different viewpoints on this stuff,
right.
you know, and then you should go about it like in a way that's fun, you know. Mm-hmm. Because we don't totally agree on everything necessarily, but it's pretty damn close though. But
yeah, you know. and the thing is that everyone has their own set of ears, so they're gonna hear it through a different lens,
right?
You know what I mean? And that's the point. I don't want I feel like some of those jazz greats or any musician, I feel like what makes them unique is their individuality about how they play or how they hear things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that's why they sound like they do. You know what I mean? It's like, if everyone talked the same, if I talked exactly like you and you talked exactly like me, it's like, what's the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so I don't know. I think it's nice to just chat about these things because I feel like sometimes we're so set in our ways, especially like, I don't know. I love jazz school. It's great. I think it's incredible. You can go and study this art form and it's sick. But I also think that it's easy to kind of get lost in that world. And only see it through that lens.
Oh my God, dude!
And
yes,
that's all I'm saying. And
totally agree.
And for me, it's like I learned so much from uneducated musicians, which I don't even like saying that because it's like, and my argument would be that some of these guys hear it better than some of the educated dudes,
quote unquote. Yeah.
Because it's like they're forced to hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess it's just for me. It's like, having learned all this stuff from, you know, a different world of musicians has really benefited me. And I would argue that's more in line with how jazz happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like, it's not like those guys went to jazz school. I mean, they did, but it was.
But it wasn't in the setting that a lot of kids call jazz school today.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, they studied with their counterparts or their elders, and then they went on to do whatever it is. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just, it's interesting. And obviously the whole No Minor One's mad clickbaity. That's the whole point.
Hell yeah, baby.
That's the whole point.
Jazz prove it, dude.
Come on, guys.
But dude, yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
What are some music, harmony, it could be anything that you're really into that maybe like is not the norm, and it's just kind of your way of. I mean, you've said some of it already, but I'm just curious. Like, is there anything like specific, somewhat, or it doesn't have to be specific? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Barry Harris is the main one for me, and then the George Russell idea, and and those two things kind of put together is like the way I think of harmony, and the most satisfying thing about the Barry Harris thing for me is actually the way it applies to not only quote unquote jazz and bebop and things like that, but also classical music. I think he came up with the best way to understand classical music, which is so revolutionary. And I think, like, again, when you have these 8 notes, and actually I would even go as far as to say he didn't necessarily come up with it. He just came up with a better way to explain it. Mm-hmm. And when you have these 7 notes, and then when you have the minor version of that same scale, which I haven't even talked about yet, which is so fascinating as well. Oh, dude, Louis, there's so many things I can go into. It's not even, but anyway,
this guy's cracking
dude, me up. if you check out like you can put on any Bach piece, any Chopin, any Brahms, anything, and you can, and if you look at it through the Barry Harris lens, you'll be like, I know what that is. I know what that. Like, it just starts making sense.
Okay.
You'll just be like, oh, that's that scale. That's that scale. That's that scale. That's that scale. Or like even recently I was checking out Claire de Lune, and like I remember when I was a kid, I was like, it's so random when it's like this, like, you know. Mm-hmm. But that's just this. It's just this scale. It's this Barry Harris scale with an A in it. And because I remember thinking, like, why is there an A sometimes?
Yeah.
And I can't remember what happens next. Exactly the voice thing, but you could just make it up.
All right.
I can't remember. What was it?
But you're right though. I see what you're saying.
Was it? What is it?
I don't know, but it sounds right. You know, it's all. What is this? Like, what chord is that? I mean, the thing is,
That's D flat major. But what does it look like?
it has that.
Name that chord. That's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
What would you?
So,
What is that?
I mean, it's blues, baby.
This is a D flat major 7 to me.
I see what you're saying.
And again,
So,
like I think
G flat,
once you
okay.
because here's the thing, it's all Barry Harris talks about this in a way that's much more concise and easy to understand the way I'm about to. So I apologize if I'm not very articulate with this idea yet, but like, and this again breaks down why I think the minor one is also kind of like not really the best way for me to think of this stuff, because D flat major is not just this, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's.
Yeah.
And that's like, if you listen to like, like 20th century stuff, that's like. I'm not even referencing anything in particular, but you would hear a lot of like Rachmaninoff or Gershwin or stuff like that. And you could sit there and be like, oh, it's just 20th century. It's just crazy. But actually, a lot of those guys are using very fundamental stuff, and it just happens to be this scale. And I think the system of harmony that we use, which is like based on like really two things. It's like there's the Berkeley way, which is like this dude in the early 1960s is like, okay, like Ionian, Dorian. Again, a lot of stuff that like Barry Harris and Charlie Parker and Duke Ellington, they're not thinking those words at all.
Yeah.
And then before that, there was like this in the early 1900s, there was this, I have to look up who this actually was, but there was like this reinvigoration of like music theory that really came from Germany and came from honestly like the early stages of like Nazism coming back and trying to paint classical music of Germany a certain way. And if you look at like really early classical music, like I remember I read Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, that's Bach's son, his treatise on like keyboard harmony and keyboard improvisation. This is written in the 1700s about keyboard improvisation. They don't talk about any of this stuff that way. But in the early 1900s, I think, and isn't it interesting that like there aren't that many like people that compose classical music in that harmony very successfully these days? Isn't that interesting? And I would say it has to do with, there was this movement where this dude, I gotta look up who this was, but this is a ramble, but they're trying to paint German music as like perfect and amazing and impossible to replicate. And in a lot of ways, like kind of like obfuscated like how their harmony actually works. And they started coming up with all these other terms, super dominant, whatever the hell, I don't fucking know what they're called.
Yeah.
All the crazy words that you learn in classical theory class and by the way, those teachers that teach that stuff very rarely compose classical music successfully. But do you know who can improvise like Chopin and like Bach? And like Schubert and anybody else, Barry Harris could. Like, prove it. Like I think that the way that these composers worked with this harmony, and again, that's the backbone of like all of our stuff. I don't think they wrote it in this way where there's a Neapolitan chord and the whatever. It's just like, I don't think that's how they thought of it. And they also were great improvisers, and I do think they were thinking of stuff like this. Like, and that's how you get all those colors like for hundreds of years. And then for some reason we're just like, now we're just like thinking of stuff.
It's only like,
because again, bringing it back to jazz school, because like in the whole like Berkeley system and all this stuff in the early 60s, they were trying to, it was a good idea with like Jamie Aebersold and, David Baker, guys like that, like Hal Galper even later on, to like come up with a really simple way to explain this stuff. And, thinking about teaching music in this like quote unquote Western, the Western education model, which is like everybody must think of everything the same way. And that's how we can teach, because then we can teach a group of people at the same time.
Right.
We can just wholesale teach music. Music is not taught wholesale.
Yeah, I agree.
And so then they came up with these ways of like, this is Ionian and this is Dorian and this is Phrygian. But then you're actually simplifying stuff and you're like missing this. Like you're actually missing, for me, the thing that explains why A minor is the way that it is. And actually it's in C major.
Yeah.
It's part of this.
Right.
You know, it's in the same way that this. How is this? This is not this. By default, this is not E altered scale. When I see a E sharp 5 sharp 9, that's still C major to me.
Okay,
it's still or A minor if you want to call it that.
I understand, and
this doesn't explain that. The modal concept doesn't explain that.
I 100% agree.
Yeah,
I 100% agree. And honestly, for me, I remember learning this idea at my church gig because we'd be playing in C major. And then all of a sudden we'd be playing whatever, it's like super churchy, and then all of a sudden at the end of the phrase, and then major again. But they'll play 6 altered. It's all the altered notes. It's like no, they'll do E7, A7, D7, G7, C major. But we're in C major the whole time. But they'll all of a sudden throw in this. It's like a minor blues. Like they'll do, just play.
I think I need to hear you play it.
Yeah, watch out.
Like
we'll be in major. They'll be in major, and then so we're doing something in major, and then all of a sudden at the end of the phrase, and they'll, you know what I'm saying?
Play the phrase again.
But now just pair it with. And then like D7 flat 9 if you want, G7.
And just a regular 9?
Major,
why'd you play that?
I did like a 6/9.
Or sus.
I did like major 6/9 sort of.
Just this. Yeah, okay.
But it's like we're in major, but I remember thinking like, why am I playing? What are they playing? And then I realized at the end of the phrase, oh wow, these guys are just playing C minor and then playing all these altered chords. And I'm saying like they'll play all the altered notes.
Yeah.
Like they'll play.
I think it's different though.
What do you mean?
Well, I just think that's
I just feel like is in the key.
Of C it is.
Yes.
But I don't think I feel like when you're doing a chord change like that, you're not doing it because it's diatonic. This is like, you know what I mean? You're not like, this... Like, I don't think of this as like that's so convenient how diatonic this is. Because it's going to so many different places to me. You know what I mean?
I guess just for me, like realizing that, because I feel like when you're playing in major, you would never tell someone, all right, now play, like if we're in a C major song, it's
right.
Like we're not, you're like.
Yes. Okay, so this is getting back to your blues idea of just like we're borrowing from.
That's the thing. And I feel like the essence of all that. It's just like, when I realized like,
is what I'm missing. Okay.
When I realized, wow, they're using these dominant chords in the right way. And it just sounds so good. And I was like, wow, I would have never really thought to do it like, I don't know, just in a song that's so majory.
Yeah.
And it's using all these diatonic chords. And then all of a sudden they borrow and they'll say it like, and there'll be moments where we'll be playing a major and then all of a sudden it just goes to straight C minor.
Right.
But it's like they'll yell E flat, but they're still playing C minor, but they're thinking E flat major, C minors are 6. And then I realized, oh wow, like they're blending this just like you would in a blues. And I was like, oh, that's how you play over these dominant chords. Like wow, I don't know, it just like really opened up my world, and like I see it everywhere now. For example, G baby, ain't I good to you?
Oh yeah, that's a good example. Yeah.
Like, sorry.
Yeah.
But it's like you best play F7 flat 9.
Oh, that's the melody.
The melodies.
Yeah.
And it's just like that whole idea of like don't play E flat major because like you're gonna be. I mean, you're playing both, but the idea is that like. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
that blending is so important to me.
Totally.
I feel like.
Totally.
Just, I don't. Yeah, that to me, that's like. I mean, that's the blues mentality at the end of the day, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I love that shit. Like,
Although,
Go.
Well,
do it.
I would say. So in that example, going from like B flat 7 altered to E flat major, B flat 7 altered really has all the elements of E flat minor, right? That's kind of the point that we're saying. And that scale would be this, to me, by default. You could also play it like altered if you wanted to, truly altered, which would have an E in it. Although I would think of this as like, by default, I would say that's the most. And then it goes to E flat major.
Okay.
The reverse isn't always the best. Like if you go like, you know what I'm saying? Like a B flat, regular dominant,
right?
B flat 7. It's kind of weird.
I 100% agree.
So then I would say, well, the whole borrowing thing, just borrow, is not as descriptive as it needs to be, because then you have to put in this other rule. Borrowing from the minor preceding the major sounds good. Borrowing from the major preceding the minor not always sounds good. Okay. Now you're adding in these rules.
I think
you're adding in these. So I think if you're coming up with music theory rules, you want them to be as concise as possible.
Right.
Which is why I like your original idea, because it's very concise.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But I think the whole borrowing thing gets a little bit, because I think not all borrowing sounds good. Like
okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're right.
But I don't know if am I making sense?
I think so. I guess for me, I just realized that like in a tune like G Baby Ain't I Good to You, that's in E flat major.
Sure.
All these dominant chords that you're playing, all like I would always get slammed on that tune trying to play it, and it's because I'm playing over all these dominant chords wrong. And then once I realized, I got to think it's blues. Like the melody has G flats. There's certain moments where you should be hearing E flat minor of sorts, whatever you want to call it, right? But I don't know. I guess it's just that whole layering to me has really helped me. And I see it in all these jazz tunes.
Yeah.
Where like Daoud, for example, is in E flat. It's like we're in G flat major, but like, it's just like this movement, E flat, to major. It's like
right.
Cole Porter, classic Cole Porter movement.
Yeah.
But that whole play is like, I feel like it's important to realize like, oh wow, it's all about layering this E flat minor. I mean, the melody, it's all E flat minor.
Right.
And it's like 6th chord of G flat, but then you go to E flat major. Like that's the whole sound.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for me, once I really realized these things, it's like it really helped. And to me, in my head, I just kind of categorize that all as blues just because it's easier in my head.
But I think it even precedes that. I think like classical music did the same thing.
Yeah, I think
that was very common.
Yeah.
For Bach would do a whole ass piece in C minor, and then the last chord is C major. That's a very common thing.
That's like an Afro-Cuban thing too.
Yeah, totally.
Like
I think there's precursors to that are backed by quote unquote like European classical harmony. But wait, remind me how Daoud is played. I haven't played this since like I was 22.
So it's like E flat minor, yeah, and then go down, and then B flat 7.
B flat 7.
Yeah, ba-da-da-da-da. They do like this. They kind of do a walk.
Spell those out for me.
They do in the record. It's like A flat, G flat, F, E, E flat major.
A flat, slower. A flat,
G flat, F, E, E flat major. It's kind of just these passing notes. So, but major though. Yeah. B flat.
Right, so
yeah. I guess to me, Clifford Brown, he wrote that, right? Is that Clifford Brown?
I believe so.
I think so. To me, it just seems like he's clearly thinking, E flat minor, G flat major, 6 chord, 2/5 to the 4 is what it sounds like to me. And then that E flat major
Totally
is like, yeah, it's that whole play of major, minor, minor, major, whatever you want to call it. To me, it's like that blues sound.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why, I really like that kind of mentality because I see it everywhere now. So it's like I have whole lists of songs that just help me. I have to do it through song because I just can't. I don't know. I have to relate it to something. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of notes. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like this playing or realizing these things has just opened up my ears so much.
Right.
That trying to, I don't know. I just like explaining some of these things, but people, I get that it's not the usual, but that's why to me, it's I didn't really hear any of this in jazz school. You know what I mean? It's you learn all this stuff, but it's, and I think the reason is because in my opinion, if you're going to learn this stuff, if you do it by ear, it's much better, but it takes forever and it's really hard.
Yeah. Well, dude, again, jazz school is teaching groups of people at a time. So you have to simplify. You have to simplify and wholesale these ideas. So you're not going to get the full thing. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The way you learn is hand to hand, one to one, by yourself, thinking about the stuff over and over and over and over and over again.
And transcribe, for me, just learning tunes and then realizing, the real book's not right. What are they actually playing? And then you listen, but you're training your ear. And then at my church gig, it's they don't read or write anything. They just send you a YouTube video.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just here, we're going to play this tune. And it's sometimes they're crazy songs. It's some crazy intro. And then it's
yeah. But Black gospel music is some of the toughest music ever. And
learning that stuff by ear and forcing, and we haven't even talked about the whole memory aspect. See, that's another thing that
let's get it.
I feel like jazz musicians are some of the biggest geniuses, not even jazz musicians, but these, all musicians, really.
Hold on, wait, before we get into it, let me text my friend and make sure that that when they head to my house, they tell me so I can get there on time. When you're on the way, I'm at a friend's house.
Our front gate? Okay, all right.
We're both handling.
Hang on, sorry, I just gotta open this gate.
We'll edit that out.
Edit it out. Hang on. Pause. Is that B flat diminished right there? Is that what you're playing?
I was just playing G on the bottom.
Oh.
Then you can do any bass now, How about this? I don't know. I've never done this before.
B flat, yeah. That's cool. I like that.
flat on the bottom. Come on. See, like, I think when you really get into this stuff, it's like, it's not even like, it's just one, each chord is one scale and could have any bass note. Cause like, this is like a E, to me, this is a quote unquote minor 2/5 to D minor, but you could just have D flat in the bass for the whole thing and it's fine. But anyway, you gotta go somewhere.
I haven't opened this key. I think I lost my keys again.
Oh shit.
Just happened. Look at this. Oh yeah. Keep going. Talk to yourself. Which one? This one?
What were you about to say?
Oh, I realized that like something that's kind of never really spoken about in terms of like learning tunes and just playing is I feel like the memory aspect is like such a crucial thing.
Totally.
That's kind of never really discussed about like, how do I learn all these tunes? How do I remember them? How do I even transpose them? How do I just...
Oh, transposing tunes. Let's get into it, dude. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Dude.
But see, this is even more reason why you should be hearing it correctly. Because like, how are you going to transpose stuff?
Especially as a piano player.
If we're thinking like... Yeah, I mean...
Yes, bro. Bro. Oh, that's the best argument, actually.
I know.
For you.
I know, because it's like, well...
Now you gotta negotiate with two different key types?
I mean, that's even more confusing.
Screwed. Dude, let's see if I can do all the things you are in any key. I've never practiced this before. Or because I just know it's tough. Or pick a tune. Pick a tune. And then we'll talk about transposing.
I mean, all the things you are is a good one.
It's a really tough one though.
It's a really tough one. I did a video of this, but the way I remember it is, I remember my teacher told me one day, and I never realized this, that the key centers.
There's 3.
Yeah, just go through the A flat major chord though.
Sure.
I never thought about it. I was like, oh, that's an easy way to remember it.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's just 6, 2, 5, 1, 4.
Oh,
in A flat.
Yeah.
And
that's so convenient.
And then you do 6, 2, 5. Well, and then you go to C real quick.
Yeah.
But then you do 6, 2, 5, 1, 4 and E flat. Which
you
just went from A flat to C to E flat. And then the next change is to G.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then minus that little E major, which is just kind of major 6 in my opinion, whatever. And then you go back. And so like, if I ever have to do that, I mean, it's still hard, but like thinking about it through that lens, it just makes, it's like, okay, one is, we're in A flat. Perfect. Okay. Ding, ding, ding. Like,
yeah, totally.
But I just think, I just think like, and especially like some of these church guys, like, dude, their memories are just insane. Because like they'll play all these songs that like, hey, do you remember Glory to God? Whatever it is. The titles all sound the same to me. But like, you know, do you remember this one in the middle of like, oh, okay, we're going to play that shit. Okay. Like, and they play it. And it's not even the same key as what the record is, but they'll play it in that key. Oh yeah. And they play the melody. And then, and then the organ players will be playing bass. And I'm like, bro, these guys are insane, dude. Like, that's crazy. Just the memory aspect of like, and I feel like all the great jazz players, like the old guys, when you see them, they know every song.
Yeah.
And it's just like, bro, the memory, that's just what has to happen up here is just incredible to remember all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, it's unbelievable. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm not good at that at all.
I mean, yeah. It's just repetition. I mean, I'm sure everyone's different.
And it's also pattern recognition.
Yeah.
Like, let's say, how can I like?
And that's what they all say too, because they say that. They say, well, you know, these tunes reminds me of this tune, and like I've been doing this solo gig, and I do that now. Like,
it's like, can you group things really well? Can you compartmentalize?
Yep. Yeah.
You know, a 6-chord, you know, combination into a one idea in your head, just a 1 4 3 6 2 5 or whatever.
Right.
You know, because every tune has a 1 4 3 6 2 5 in it.
Yeah, I know. But
the 1 4 3 6, dude. No one talks about the 1 4 3 6. That's like the most common chord. It's even more common than the 2 5 1 in a lot of ways. No one even talks about it.
It's actually true, because you end up doing that. You go 1 4 and then you go 3 6.
Yeah, dude. And then any tune where what's a tune that give me a tune that starts on the 2 chord. On the 2 chord? Yeah, if I know it. I'm not the best library of tunes anymore, because I play my own music now, and I'm like terrible with the standards. That's fine. Like Body and Soul.
I was just gonna say Body and Soul.
Yeah, at the very end, you know. You can 1 4 3 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or let me think.
Here's another one. 1 4 3 6. Or you could do.
Right.
By the way, dude, back to Barry Harris. Why is there a flat 3 diminished chord all the time?
Oh, I know. It's one of my favorites.
Because
you tell me why.
Well, in the key of C, for instance, that would be E flat diminished. But that's the G major. That's only one key away. That's
Wait, say it again.
So that really, to me, that's the same as okay, this is gonna sound a little crazy, but this is the same. Sorry, E flat diminished. That's the same as C Lydian, because a C Lydian scale has an E flat in it.
Oh, I see. Because that's what. Yeah.
It's the same thing as.
And it has that F sharp.
Anytime you have a diminished major 7, and that's this scale. That's the Barry Harris scale. That would be G major, which is C Lydian. And it happens to have this in there. And that's why you have this. And that's also why when I play this chord, I can play this as well.
Yeah. I love Barry Harris's whole family tree. Like
What's
the
that?
harmonic family tree that he does is my favorite.
Wait, which one is that again?
Where he says like...
Oh, yeah, the...
I call it the family tree.
Sure. The 4 diminished and the 3 augmenteds and the 2 whole tones. Yeah.
I love that.
It's awesome.
I love how he like...
It's like, it's a fancy numerology that goes along with it as well.
the DNA...
Sure.
That's my favorite part.
I can't remember.
He's talking to one of the piano players. I don't remember his name, but he's showing him how, he's showing. Oh shoot! Now I'm gonna mess this up. He's showing him the different whole tones, right?
Sure.
And then how those both lead to all the 4 different diminished chords, which then lead to the dominant chords for each one. and he calls those the cousins, or something like that.
Sure.
But then he says the D and A. Wait, now I'm forgetting. Shit. I don't remember. I have it saved on my YouTube. It's on one of the playlists. It doesn't matter. I got to revisit all that shit, honestly. I feel like some of those videos, dude, are just so pure, just gold now.
Yeah.
It's like the like the Chick Corea videos are up still.
Those are great.
And it's just like it's so cool that those guys like did those, because it's like they're forever going to be around now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's just like it's just really cool. I really like it. And I feel like in jazz, like part of the ethos is exactly what we're doing. It's like talking about it, and it's like learning, and it's like explaining it for other people. So I feel like them making these videos,
and then people are definitely going to explain to us how we're wrong. They're definitely going to explain back, which is great. That's how that's definitely going to make me question everything all over again, which is what you want to do.
That's good. Yes, exactly.
But yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, we're talking about sorry. I was still thinking about like 1 4 3 6 2 5 1.
No, you're right. I love that. Yeah.
But yeah, those are all, again, so getting back to what you were saying, sorry. Getting back to like, memorizing tunes and stuff, if we can go back to that.
Yeah.
Like, if you memorize these larger things, 1 4 3 6 2 5 1, then it's really easy for you to memorize a larger structure.
Yes.
And then same thing with like, it's literally the same as becoming fluent in a language.
Right.
It is very hard for me to memorize a monologue in Spanish.
Right.
But a lot easier if it's in English.
Right.
Because I'm more fluent in English.
Of course.
But I'm more fluent in Spanish than German. If you gave me German, I'd be like, oh my God, I have no chance. I'm not even going to, first off, I haven't even memorized how to correctly pronounce the rolled R, the German rolled R, the sound. I can't fucking do it.
Yeah.
So again, the more fluent you become in keys, if I know how to play 1 4 3 6 2 5 1 and all 12, and I know I'm gonna see that chord change in every single tune.
Yeah.
Even tunes that don't start on the 2 chord, they just have a 2 chord in them. Right. You can proceed it with a 1 4 3 6.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's going to appear in every single tune. And then when it inevitably does, if I haven't memorized that, like I remember at one point in my life, I had not memorized it's funny, I'm going to break our rule here, but what a 2-5 to the 6 is, what a 2-5 to the 3 is, and what a 2-5 to the 2 was. Mm-hmm. All the minor chords.
Right.
I hadn't memorized that. And I remember at some point in my life, I was like, why is there a fucking F sharp half diminished in all these tunes in C?
Thank you.
Why is that there?
I was literally about to ask you right now.
Why is that there? But you brought it up. It's the same. Look, it's the same scale again, dude. It's the same one. It's the same as E flat diminished, the same as B7, B7 sharp 9 sharp 5 going to E minor. They go into G major. A great example of this is in the tune Embraceable You, when you go you can go to the 5 major in that tune. But
because you go to B flat major.
Yeah.
If you're in
so
E
wait,
flat.
what you played in E flat?
I play in E flat. I just played it yesterday.
But it's already doing it. Look, it's already in
G flat,
the flat 3 diminished.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Then it goes to B flat major.
Yeah.
But you could also stay on G minor, you could just sub out all the other B flat major stuff there.
Right. Okay, I have a question. Let's say, what key would we be in? Let's say, I guess if we're in C, the F sharp half, I feel like that's such an important chord. And like,
which chord? Sorry.
Like if we're in C,
sure.
F sharp half, right?
Sure.
So I call that tritone, half diminished.
Sure.
Or I like calling it 6 of 6. People lose their mind when I say that, but I say
that's kind of the Thelonious Monk way, is it not?
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Isn't that validating?
That is.
Here's some validation for you, Louie. There you go. Think of it that way.
But I realized, you know where I really heard it from? Well, really, I learned that from Afro-Cuban music.
Okay.
Because every time you play in a minor key, you know, it's very simple.
Play that. You'll play that six, the six of the six. That's really cool. That's true. That's true.
I further learned it from Benny Golson. So think about Whisper Not.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have my students do that in all 12 keys. Watch, just do C, walk down like C minor, B flat, C minor over B flat, A, D, G, and then now keep going. F, but keep going. Keep going. Just, you can go through all 12, and it leads you right back to where you go. And then that's when I was like, oh, that's 6. That's what it sounds like. I just did all 12. Exactly. Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Back to where we started.
Yep. And then that's when I realized that, oh, that's, and you do that all the time. You do that in you do that from the 6, you do that from the 2. That's a classic walk down from the 2.
Right.
Like you always do that. It's just, it's interesting. Yeah. So like that's one that, and it completes tritone 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1.
Tritone 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1.
It's all cycle 5. Watch.
What's tritone 7 mean? What does that mean?
Tritone's say we're in C.
Yeah.
Play F sharp.
This. Major or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what really made me understand that chord.
But also, when I play, so when you play F sharp half diminished, like for me, I'm playing this scale. The Barry Harris way would be to play a G major scale.
Oh, I see.
Because I'm playing the 7, if you will. Right? This would be like a 7, 3, 6 of G minor, of G major. Of course. Right? 100%. So of course I'm just going to play a G major scale, which for me happens to have an E flat because I play the Barry Harris way. But
it's funny.
But then when you get to E minor, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. Keep going.
When you get to E minor, what scale are you playing for E minor? I mean, there's a bunch of different ones, but what would you play by default? What's your like?
If I'm doing F sharp, B, E minor.
Yeah. Now when you get to, because are you still playing this G major ish? Like, because that's, or are you playing this C major ish?
I guess I would say it depends on what I'm playing. It depends on like what the tune is.
Yeah.
But like, I guess on a tune, let's say for example, Night and Day. Well, that one goes chromatically though, but it's kind of subbing. Well, whatever.
We can do 9 Day.
But it does like F sharp F.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Sure.
But it's kind of the same thing. It's just like a sub for that B. Why
can't I think of one?
So wait, what is the question?
Let's say we're just doing a tritone 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Okay. When you get to the 3, what's your like default scale for your 3? Because I can think of like 3 off top for just the way I like to think.
I mean, I guess for me, I would hear it as 7, 3, 6 in G for that brief.
So you're still thinking, G.
Somewhat, yeah.
And of course, it can be other things as well, but that one works.
What are you saying?
So I mean, so where I'm heading with this is like, a minor 7 can be 3 different keys. Right. Right. So there's the G major way, which that'll give you this. And then when you get to, but that means kind of like A minor is also you're not getting the benefit of it being a dominant chord, which is really nice. Yeah. So then there's also you could also make it C major, but that's going to do the same thing. Yeah. You know? And again, my C major has an A flat in it.
Right.
But also you could do it like the F major way. Right now, this is a 7, and that's like.
Oh, I like that.
That's like the bebop way.
Yeah.
That's like the most common.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is all bebop,
Yeah.
but that's the way you always see.
Of course.
That's like the 1959 lick. That's like
Yeah.
everyone played that entire year. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Right. But that's just, dude, that's another thing that bothered me too about like quote unquote jazz school. Bar 8 of a blues, right? Let's say it's an F blues.
Mm-hmm.
What chords are there? It's like a D7,
bar
right?
8 of a blues if we're an F. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It's like a D7, and then what's the chord before that? A minor or a half diminished.
Right.
But then I knew as a kid, just like, you know, listening to my favorite record as a kid was Cool Struttin' by Sonny
yeah,
Clark.
I've been
And on
listening
that
to that,
on that track, this lick is played in some way, whether it's that or and also Blue Train by John Coltrane, the same tune. They play that lick 6 or 7 or 8 times on each recording. It's crazy. And then I was like, oh, but the scale, like, you know, the Jamie Aebersold way, it's like, well, it's first off, A Dorian for some reason is what people told me, which is like totally not it. Not that that's a common thing that people would say. But like, they're like, oh, it's a 2-5. So pretend you're going to G major, which is like such a funny way to me. You're looking at me so confounded. It doesn't even make sense. But the scale I learned for D later on, I didn't know until years later. So you know what the Phrygian dominant is? You've heard that term before?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know that until I was like 21 or something like that, you know? And this is just, you know, obviously it's G harmonic minor, as you know, but also it's, if you just add an F in there, dude, you'll see how this is also, well, it's this. And it's really just that B flat. Again, that's B flat major. It's Barry Harris B flat major. But so again, getting back to now, pretend we're doing the tritone 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. You get to that 3 chord. Yeah, I play it this way. You know. And then when you get to here, D minor. It's probably best that you switch this to C major.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But isn't it interesting, relating this to George Russell, that the 3 keys were G, F, and C, perfect fifths apart?
Yeah, I mean.
But of course they are, because the minor 7s are perfect fifths apart.
Yeah, it's funny.
And of course they are, because these are the notes of C. And D minor is these 4, and A minor is these 4, and E minor is these 4. Of course they're perfect fifths apart.
I love
Everything is perfect fifths apart. And then that means that the minor 6th, the flat 6 moves from here to here to here.
Okay, I have a question.
I did that wrong. But you know, it's these 3 notes.
I'm going to bring up
but
something that people were giving me a lot of shit for online.
let's do it.
Minor blues.
Sure.
I kept saying, obviously, we all know minor, 1, minor 4, they say flat 6,
Sure.
5. Okay, I
Sure.
get it. We get it.
Sure.
I one day was like, oh, but that's just the 6.
Sure.
People were losing their minds when I said that.
You know what? I never thought of it that way prior to that video, but I saw it. I was like, there's something valuable to this. I haven't thought of it that way, but I could not tell you with a straight face that there's nothing valuable to that idea. Because I totally get why that's valuable.
Right. I remember when I saw it like that one day, I was like, why does no one say that? I was like, wow, that's like, oh, I see. It's like that movement is in that key still.
Dude, I think Barry Harris wouldn't use that exact, because he doesn't even really say numbers that often.
Yeah.
But he's thinking of it that way too. He totally is thinking this. If it's C minor, for instance, he's thinking this, and then F minor. You could keep it here, or you could do that. But yeah, he's thinking that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. It's fun. I think it's good talking about all this stuff, man. It's like, it's nice. It's nice to chat with other people too. Cause like I was telling you earlier, like I'll be playing gigs and I especially like to ask the older guys, like whoever's playing, you know what I mean? Because it's like they know. I mean, they obviously know what they're doing. You know what I mean? So
of course.
it's like if Rob says, "Hey, play this bass note," oh shoot, okay, cool, I like that.
I'll do whatever Rob says.
Yeah,
by the way, shout out Rob Thorson, dude. Hell yeah, thanks Rob. Thanks Rob for putting me in your band a few years ago. That was awesome. It's fucking awesome.
But I think it's good to ask these questions, like, and especially because not everyone hears them the same. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's nice to to chat about this stuff. And it's not that people are saying, well, you're only thinking of it one way and you're saying everyone else is wrong. And I'm not saying that, just for the record. I've been saying nonstop, do both. And I can tell you guys aren't watching all the videos because some of the early ones, I made it a point to say this and people are saying, you're not, and it's like, okay, whatever. But
dude, I love your idea. And also because one of my beliefs about pedagogy, because this is really what it's about. This is really about pedagogy, like how you talk about the music. Because again, when you're playing it, you're not actually really thinking this stuff. This is how you talk about it. This is how you develop it. But something I believe about pedagogy, if you can distill something down to one fundamental rule that covers multiple concepts, then that's a really valuable idea. Mm-hmm. And that's what this does. Like I that's why I like your idea of like, and also low key, I've been thinking of it that way. You know, I don't go as far as you. I have yet to do like 7-3-6, which again, dude, is actually so valuable. I know why it's valuable, dude. Okay, so like for example, something I've been getting really into is like, okay, so in the key of C, if you look at the 3 minor 7s, mm-hmm. so that's A, D, and E, or whatever order you want to think. And all of those have their quote-unquote relative majors. That would be like C, F, and G, mm-hmm. which are your 3 major triads, which is really nice.
Which is just 1, 4, 5.
1, 4, and 5.
Blues, baby.
Blues, baby. Dude, the symmetry is already there. But then if you look at the dominant chords for each of those locations, the 2, the 3, and the 6.
So you mean the dominant chords of those?
Yes.
So like for D, you're saying A.
A.
Okay.
For E is B,
right.
And for what's the one I left out? A would be E7, right? Really, the Barry Harris scales I would use for those are C, F, and G, the 3 major scales I mentioned. Mm-hmm. Dude? I can't handle 6 scales, dude. I can't. I'm just getting started with this really in-depth idea. Don't give me more stuff to do, okay? But listen, so if I do, you know, the C major diminished sixth, the F major diminished sixth, and the G major diminished sixth, if I can just like, it's really useful if I'm like playing a tune in A flat, knowing that my 3 options because again, when I got to that 3 chord, I had 3 different options. Right. Remember when I played that E minor 7, I had 3 different options. Right. It wasn't really because also one of them is half diminished, but whatever. When I get to that 3 chord, right, I have really 3 like different like major diminished sixth options to play there. Mm-hmm. It would be really nice if I play a tune now leaving C. If I play a tune in A flat, it's really nice knowing like at some point I'm gonna need that A flat, that D flat, and that E flat. Right. I'm not even gonna be thinking about, what about the B flat and what about the relative minor ones? What? Why am I adding that? And like, so here's the thing. If you're just getting a grasp of harmony, if you're just starting out, of course, like I totally thought of harmony that way for a long time. Like minor blues, of course. There's always like a thing in my head that was like, this feels weird though.
100%.
Which let's be real.
Be honest, weird. Guys. Be honest.
It is a little weird. Now, so then if you're getting to the question of like, how do I think of it? Well, then you just ask like, what am I trying to achieve? Like we're all different. We all think differently. And me personally, the way my brain works, and again, like what I'm going at harmonically is so different. Most people are not really going that deep into Barry Harris because not that many people care about the harmony of Bud Powell, but I do.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you do care, you gotta know the Barry Harris thing. And then I do think that now if we're adding on this whole other like sidecar concept dude, I just, so all that to say, it depends what you want to achieve. And I when I saw that video, I was like, this makes sense for what I'm trying to do, actually.
As one of my good friends,
Sue me.
Ostad Farhad says, guys, I can only count to 3.
Yeah. Don't give me more than that.
He's like, guys, you're playing in what the chord? He's like, He's like, guys, I can only count to 3. What are you doing?
Dude, all the best musicians, very few of the best musicians, at least in my limited observation, very few guys really obsess over the complicated, you know? And like, maybe I'm throwing out a lot of, I mean, I'm going through this as quickly as possible because we're cracked out today and we're trying to like really get a lot off our chest. But like, genuinely, when I'm playing, I'm actually thinking in a way that's very simple.
Right.
And none of this metadata, like names for things, because that's really what this is. This is just, music theory is just metadata.
Yeah.
Like metadata for like a file is like it's 3 megabytes. It's not what's in the file. It's information about the file.
Right.
This is metadata about music. When I'm playing, I'm not thinking any metadata. It's very simple. It's like there's just these notes and I'm just doing that. Very few musicians are actually like, no one's really thinking complicated shit while they're playing.
I don't think you can.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Like, do you think when like LeBron's playing basketball, do you think he's thinking like
He's like, yeah, the exercise.
No, it's like, again, it's like the same thing as like when you're memorizing a ton of tunes. If you're memorizing a whole bunch of things, you're actually not memorizing
every single word.
No, you're not. You're memorizing like the basic plot. Like, and we were about to talk about how to memorize tunes or how to transpose tunes.
Right.
By the way, you mentioned really quick when you said, for all the things you are, it's just an A flat major 7 triad. That's an example. You gave, like, you just grouped
all of them together.
A whole like
how
structure
long is that, like 32 bars
in like
or something? I don't even know.
You made a zip file like into a fucking like, you know, you
That's a good
compressed
way.
it.
I like that.
You compressed it into a much simpler idea, which then enables you to like improvise like even more crazily because now you have a simpler structure that you can do everything in like A flat land.
Right.
You know.
I love it.
You know, you could do. You know, anyway, but yeah, dude, music's sick, dude.
I love it,
dude. Can we talk about San Diego jazz, dude? Can we talk about it? Because I love it, and
it's getting good, dude.
I haven't been here much because I've been on the road a lot, but let's talk about it. What's your?
What do you want to talk about?
Just what's it like right now, dude?
I mean, honestly, I feel like it's really happening right now, and I feel like it's getting better and better, and there's more people here. There's more places to play, and it's just
what are the places right now?
I mean, there's all sorts. I mean, there's the newest spot is that Lulu's Club.
I've heard of this.
At Lafayette.
It's like the huge, like, it almost looks like a pearl.
Like it's the shell thing. Yeah. So it's the Lafayette. That's like one of the newer spots. Gilbert plays there a lot. I mean, a lot of people are playing there. But, you know, there's still the Dizzies. There's still, you know, like.
Are they still in like Mission Beach area? Dizzies?
He's at the Union Hall. The Musicians Union.
Oh, okay.
So it's not the jet ski spot that you were.
When did that change?
That was a while ago.
Oh God, I haven't been here so long.
It's been like years, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at least 5 years, at least.
I haven't been around a long time.
So I mean, there's that kind of stuff, and then there's other, you know, there's casuals, you know, there's different places to play, but like, I just think that the scene and the people here, like Rob and Gilbert and then the young kids too. There's a whole new crew of young kids, and a lot of it's because of Gilbert, dude.
Who are the young kids, dude?
So there's people like Khalil, who's this great alto player. Nick. I mean, Khalil's in high school still, but some of these guys that were in Young Lions are now going to college. You know, they're going to all these different schools or not. They're whatever they're doing, right? But you know, they come back on summer break. There's like Elijah's this good drummer. I mean, there's all sorts. I'm gonna forget a bunch of people, but it's nice because I feel like I've even noticed people coming from LA or like outside because they realize like they just end up coming here on tour or something. Right. And then like, hey, what's going on? And I have random people come into sessions. So like I'll be at my session and like some guy will come, hey, where are you from? I'm from, I don't know, New Orleans, whatever it is. Like whoever. But it seems like I feel like it's only getting better. In my opinion.
Hell yeah.
And it's like there's getting more and more good players. I mean, granted, it's still not LA or New York, but that's what's kind of nice about it too, though. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
dude, there's so many advantages to making music here. When did you like first like get out in the scene? Because you're like born here, right?
Yeah. I would say.
Wait, where are you? Which part of town are you from?
I was born. I'm from like Lakeside,
Oh, word. Okay,
East County.
I'm from OB, dude.
Nice. Wait, what'd you ask me?
Oh yeah, like when did you start like getting out on the scene? Was it like after college,
Yeah,
during
it was,
college,
it
high
was
school?
after college.
Okay, cool.
I didn't know
cool,
what
cool.
the hell I was doing when I was in college, and
Were
so
you at state? Did you go to
Yeah.
state? Okay, cool.
So and I knew that. Like I knew getting out, I was like, wow, I need to study. I don't know what, I did all this stuff and like I learned all these things, but it's like you have to apply that stuff. And you have to know how to and the only way to apply it is by playing.
Right.
And it's like, but no one's gonna hire you if you don't know what you're doing. Which is fine. But I kind of ended up making my own gigs just to practice because I knew I had to play.
Dude.
And it's like,
that's
dude,
what it looks like, dude.
that's what you have to do.
That's what
Yeah.
a future professional musician looks like, is when you're starting out, like, who's the motherfucker that's like just trying to, it's gonna make it happen.
Right.
It's
And
like wants to
and
do
that's the only
it.
way you learn. And honestly, I just played, I played gigs on my own and hired people. And that's kind of why that's what I do now. I'm kind of the guy that calls people. It tends to be.
Cool.
And it's just because that's what I've always done, I guess. I didn't really have a choice. But I mean, it's great, dude. I feel like there's a lot of, I wish I got to see Joshua White more. Do you ever see Joshua?
I haven't seen him in forever.
I love that, the way he plays.
Oh,
is
he's
just-
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Tia Leo's, so Holly Hoffman. You remember Holly?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Holly
that's
Hoffman,
something you
dude.
could do on Sunday.
What's she doing?
She has her session. I should call her. I'll see who's
I
playing.
love her, dude.
You should go see Holly.
Oh my God, dude! The last time I saw her, she came to UCLA to do it when I was a student there.
Nice.
So it would have been 10 years ago. when
You
I
should
saw
go
her.
see Holly.
But I met her at the UCSC Jazz Camp,
Yeah,
dude.
of course.
2000. Were we there at the same time?
I
We
don't
must have
know.
been.
Really?
I went 2006
I went once.
6 and 7. I went
I don't
twice.
even remember, dude. No, I was still in high school.
6 and 7. 2006, 2007.
No, I hadn't even found. Yeah, no, I
Okay.
didn't go then.
So yeah, I met Holly Hoffman through that program.
Yeah, Holly. I mean, she does. That's
She's
another one of
so
the gigs.
sick.
She does every Sunday. She does like this. She does. It's at Tio Leo's. It's the place. It's off Morena.
Great.
And she does. Yeah, she does a session, or it's not a session, but she features, Joshua or Rob or Gil, whoever it is. She just books people,
Yeah.
and some are coming from LA and whatever, or people that are in town.
Yeah.
And then you have people like Dan Atkinson, who's from.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude, that's a name I haven't heard in forever.
Yeah, Dan's the man.
Yeah, he was the guy. He was
He's-
the
Yeah.
coordinator of that
He
program.
was the one, yeah. So he's been
That's
doing. I mean, he
crazy.
still does his anthem. I think it's him. I mean, I'm assuming it's him. Every time I go, he's the one who gets me in. So
Dude.
he does the Anthenaeum and like the what's the other spot called? Maybe it's the neuroscience. I don't know what it's called. There's a nice hall that's in UCSD, and it goes.
I know what
down.
you're talking about. I think that's also the Athenaeum. But there's the Athenaeum Library, and then,
And then
there's
okay, maybe
but
that's,
maybe
I don't know. Whatever you call it.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I saw Brad Meldau play there one time.
Ooh, I like that room.
Yeah.
That room is sick. I think
Yeah.
it sounds good and just the vibe is cool. But yeah, I mean, there's that kind of stuff. And then there's other, I've been playing, I do a lot of I like playing with all the church guys. So we play a lot of like R&B stuff. So I've been
Hell
doing
yeah.
this thing called Soul Sunday, which is like this.
Yeah, bro. I still need to come to that.
It's next week.
All right, cool.
Yeah. It's like it's usually the third Sunday.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. But they're just getting, it's not jazz, but it kind of is. Whatever
Kind
you
of
want to
is.
call
It's
jazz.
Black American music.
Yeah,
you know?
so
it's
it's
the
like-
same thing.
And
Sorta.
it's nice because
Yeah.
we just played with the last girl, her name's Shay Universe, I think her name is. She
Okay.
just did Tiny Desk.
Cool.
Oh, hey, congrats
yeah.
on your Tiny Desk.
Thank
bro.
you,
That
bro.
shit is sick.
Thank you.
I
man.
saw that, I was like, yeah.
Hell yeah. Got Charlie Hunter on there. Speaking of guitarists, you know.
I love that guy, dude.
Hell yeah.
So wait,
Dude, that guy's a beast, dude.
he's incredible.
He's a beast.
I was nerding out on his did you see his I don't know what channel it's on, but it was going around and it was him talking about his parts on the D'Angelo record,
Yeah.
and he's sitting there playing through all of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like, yes.
Dude. Yeah.
That,
Dude.
and I was going down that rabbit hole, and Juju, the guitar, I think that's his name.
Oh, okay.
He's a guitar player that played with like oh god, why am I spacing?
I only vaguely know the name, but
Anyways,
I
I was going down the rabbit hole with
Okay.
that, and then that one.
Charlie,
and
man.
Yeah, just
Charlie's the
super
shit.
sick. So what was that like?
Oh, it was great, dude. I love Charlie Hunter. I met him on this recording session we were doing with Kurt Elling, and no. I met him through Nate. I met him through Nate Smith. So I play in Nate Smith's trio now.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, I was playing the most random gig with some of these like the R&B dude, all this whole crew that I play with, and I'm backstage, and we're in like up north. I don't remember where, like Escondido somewhere, and some guy walks by, and I look at Steve and all the guys there. I was like, that guy looks exactly like Nate Smith. And they just laughed at me. They're like, it's because it is. And I was like, what the
Dude,
fuck?
He's awesome, man. He's so awesome.
He was super cool. And
He's the chillest guy ever.
It was cool. They were shredding. It was random, bro. I was like, what the like?
Dude, Nate Smith is so deep, man. Like, he started out playing with like Betty Carter, and then the Dave Holland gig, and then Chris
I didn't know
Potter.
that.
Oh, dude, he's been playing with Dave Holland forever.
Holy shit!
Dude, he's doing like OG shit, and he's doing like
his thing.
Yeah, his thing, and the Kinfolk was so like, it was a game changer record as well. Like, yeah, he's had so many phases of his career that are so meaningful, and like the superlative for him that I like to think about is like, it's really, really difficult, and I challenge people to do this all the time. It's really difficult to think of like a drummer that can do. Is it 3 or 4 things I'm thinking? 4 things.
Mm-hmm.
4 things. It's really difficult. Can you find a guy who can play straight ahead?
Right.
Who can like swing their ass off?
Mm-hmm.
Nate can swing his ass off, bro. Can you find a guy that can also do like more like modern swing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like to me, the person that might be the best of that, someone like Marcus Gilmore, or like, he's not on that. He's just different. But then what about like, what if you add in the hip hop element?
Right.
Like, who can also do the hip hop thing?
I totally agree.
Kareem Riggins, there's a lot of guys like that. Chris Dave, obviously. And then the 4th category, which it thins out really quickly. Who are the guys who can also do the Bernard Purdy, Clyde Stubblefield, like 70s golden era session player guy thing?
Right.
There's not a lot of guys today that do all 4 of those things. Nate kills it at all 4 of those things. He can do like the Steve Jordan session 70s session sound, and he can play
just play straight ahead if
he can
wants.
Play odd meters and all this crazy stuff. Like he can do anything. Like and in his own style, not as like this is me playing in this style and like doing the cookie cutter version of that. No, like doing a Nate Smith version of all those things. It's mind blowing. He's like
I would say the same thing about you, bro. That's cool about modern day people, though, especially with the internet. Some of these kids, it's like, they find everything now. They hear all this music and they can study it through YouTube and whatever. And I don't know. It's really cool, man. Like, you get to see, I'm jealous because like, I remember finding YouTube and not knowing what the hell to do with it at first. And like, wait, what? YouTube? Google? Like,
yeah.
Do you remember when YouTube first came out?
Yeah. I remember that. That's how old I am, dude.
I remember, like, YouTube? Like, what do you mean, tube? It's YouTube? What?
Yeah. It is weird.
And
it was just viral videos. It was like fucking that Numa Numa Ye guy and Chocolate Rain.
Yeah.
Chocolate Rain. But and then when music started, dude. Well, wait. I want to get back to like talking about San Diego stuff because I'm from here. I'm rarely in a position to talk about this with somebody from here.
What do you mean,
dude? I just want to talk about how fucking awesome it was coming up here because, like,
what did you like about it?
Okay, well, you mentioned like all these venues, and then we brushed on like UCSC Jazz. Like, I think the thing that San Diego has, and I live in LA now. For those of you who don't know, like, LA just. It's too vast. It's too spread out.
Right.
There's not like there's scenes or sub scenes, but there's not one central scene. And then also like to bring this back to like, obviously I was a kid when I was here. So like there is no connection in LA. There's no connection with the kids. With like the upcoming, like we're not playing with like younger cats who are like trying to learn. There's zero of that. I don't know where do I don't even know.
Why
Here,
do you think that is?
It's like a real community because it's like all ages, like, and everyone's checking out each other's stuff and supporting each other's stuff. People are sitting in on each other's things. Like when I was going to like Dizzy's or, what's like something back in the day, like what was the one in North Park?
Did you ever go to Onyx? Was that before
Onyx?
your time?
Yep. With like Curtis Taylor and Dean.
Yeah,
I was playing
Dean
gigs with them.
sick.
I was playing gigs with them for a couple summers. That was great. Super killing. Yeah, dude. The Onyx, and then what else? What's another space I'm trying to think of? Like,
okay, let me.
What's like a real like throwback? Like, what's the one in there's 98 Bottles, but then there's also the one like down the street from it, the El Camino.
Oh, I was gonna say El Camino.
Yeah. And then the one in North Park, the
$7
grand. Is that still a thing?
So it's not like it used to be. That back room.
That shit was popping, bro.
Know.
That shit was popping as hell.
I don't know why they changed it. The back room, you know how the stage was there?
Yeah.
And it was in the back? It's no longer. They like made that into a whiskey bar.
Okay.
Which is cool, but like,
yeah,
the vibe's not the same.
Yeah.
It's like, and when Gilbert was there,
and then Westgate, which I'm sure is still a thing. Is that still a thing? No.
I mean, Gilbert doesn't play there anymore, and I don't know who plays there, to be honest. It's not really a thing anymore.
Yeah, I remember I was playing gigs with Gil there as well.
Yeah.
And then, but dude, like, I was going to music school, and like the whole year, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm like, but it was like just, I couldn't really get in the scene.
Okay.
It was just like, cause I was like a kid, you know, and it's just like kind of harder.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And then here in San Diego, like, here's Gil, who's like one of the greatest musicians in the world.
Yeah, he's incredible.
And was just like, hey, do you want to play a gig on Friday? Like, it was just like awesome.
That's one thing I love about San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like, holy shit. Like,
yeah. And
you know,
that's why I'm trying to do more of this, because I'm trying to highlight all these people that we see all the time that you're talking about. And it's mostly just because I've learned from these people. And it's just, I feel like no one really knows them.
Yeah.
In a sense. I mean, people that know, but I feel like, yeah, it's kind of a hidden gem in that sense. And there is like, I have a lot of young kids that come. I think a lot of this has to do with Gilbert, to be honest, dude.
Oh, dude.
Because his Young Lions thing, the whole conservatory has been just churning out.
Dude, they're
badasses.
Dude, yeah.
It's crazy.
Bro, I be following them on Instagram like, these kids are freaks, man.
Yeah, man.
They're great.
And they have some of the hard, like this is something I would love to ask Gilbert. I would love to ask him about, hey, Gil, how are you teaching these kids? Like, what are you guys talking about? And like, I've sat in on a couple of his classes and kind of watched him do their thing. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that I think I would have to say is because of him. I mean, a lot of these kids, they come to my session now or his session or wherever. They make their own session, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like they come and they play these tunes, and it's like, that is a cool aspect of it. I never really thought about it like that, actually. I mean, I'm not in LA really, so I don't even know where I would really go.
But there's no like central thing there currently. Like, it's just different. It's like, I guess I'm also speaking more like about like straight ahead stuff too.
Okay.
When I'm talking about quote unquote jazz, because like LA does have that, but I wouldn't really know about it, and it's, you know, it's just so disparate. Everything's so far away from each other. Here's like, you know, people will like know the same tunes. It's such a valuable thing, because I remember when I was here, like people were always playing like Segment was a tune that would never ever get called.
Really?
Like where I was.
Oh, wow.
For instance, like, you know, the tune Segment, people are like, what? But like here, like everyone knows that tune. Like there's like really cool, like a cool regional, like, it's like, yeah, it's like there's an actual like culture surrounding straight ahead music here. That's profound. Like that's really cool to me. And it's because I think largely because of Gilbert. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's really helped curate
linchpin,
and like, yeah, he's really helped like, you know, curate a community of people and just players. And yeah, I mean, you know who I've been going down the rabbit hole a little bit with? I need to go deep, but I've realized that I love all the Duke Pearson tunes.
I couldn't even tell you a Duke Pearson tune off rip.
Like Janine is a Duke Pearson tune.
I don't know that
Or I'm
tune.
sorry. Yeah, I think it's... Wait, I get him confused with Duke Jordan. Damn it.
I don't even know that tune anyways.
Well, you would love Duke Pearson. Like,
Okay.
What about?
He's a pianist, right? Is he a pianist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a Blue Note guy.
Yeah, and I didn't realize I was listening to a Blue Note interview, NPR, whatever documentary, whatever the hell it's called, and they were talking about Duke Pearson, or Gilbert sent it to me because Gilbert brought in a tune. I've been playing with him on Tuesdays at this like restaurant gig, and him and Brian Levy, who's the new head at State.
Brian Levy, dude.
Do you remember him?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the first jazz concert I ever saw was Brian Levy
Really?
and Gil.
So Brian's in town now.
First jazz concert I ever saw was Brian Levy.
He took over at SDSU.
That's fucking
He's
fire.
the new head of State, which is great because he's cool. And he shreds, dude. The guy's insane.
He is insane.
But
Duke Pearson did write Janine, by the way.
okay, that one, and
You
then
were correct.
I'm not so sure. Oh wait, no, not that. Wait, no, that's a what do you call it tune? Wait, damn it.
Let me see.
I'm not so sure. Shit, it's called shoot.
Duke Pearson tunes. Let me Google it.
Something I'm like Duke Pearson. I'm not something.
Are you sure? I'm not so sure. That's a tune. But
I think that's a Cedar Walton tune.
Oh, facts. I don't know. I'm terrible.
Damn it! It's called
This is outside of my jurisdiction.
Shit. Why am I forgetting the name of the song? Anyways, I can't think of it, but it's a great tune. I realized that Duke Pearson has all these hits, bro. Like, they're really good tunes. And apparently he was kind of like a ghostwriter for some of these Blue Note recordings.
Oh,
So,
sick.
like, some of these, records that you hear, you don't realize that some of those tunes are written by Duke Pearson.
That's tight. I'm not hip.
Wait, hang on. Let me right here. Duke Pearson tunes. It's called...
Wait, why are we talking about Janine in the first place? Oh, because Gil brought it in.
Oh, yeah. Him and Brian, they like introduced me to some of these tunes.
Dude.
And I started going down the rabbit
so
hole, and I realized,
sick.
like, dude, this guy has, like, some killing tunes.
Yeah.
Anyways. So what about you, bro? You're doing some cool shit. What are you focusing
Dude.
on right now?
Well, let's see.
Because you write a lot, and you're doing your whole... you have, like, your whole sound, and I think it's sick.
Thanks.
So, like... What are you working on now? Like, obviously you're doing your tours and stuff and you're killing it. Like, what's I don't know, what's on Kiefer's mind?
Well, I basically have like two main gigs. I have my gig. Well, really my gig is the one main gig, but then I'm playing with Nate Smith and like a trio with like him and cartoons right now.
I saw that. Okay.
Which is really fun.
Yeah.
So those are my two focuses. I'm writing tunes for the Nate Smith record that we're going to work on.
Sick.
And then I'm also writing tunes for my own record right now. So that's it. I just was touring for like 9 months straight, basically, which was like nutty. Like, it was overdoing it. I mean, it wasn't like 9 months straight, but it was basically,
It's a lot.
yeah, I hit like 80 something cities over between my tour and then with Nate as well.
Nice.
And then a few cartoon shows that I played for fun with my buddy Cartoons.
Hell yeah.
So now I'm basically just like at home recording for a couple of months.
Cool.
And not traveling, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Like no shows. I just want to like be in the studio, so to speak, which is really just my house.
And you just sit there and just be creative and write and do your thing?
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to make as many beats as possible because really like my composing.
That
really
was your
comes
whole
from,
thing,
like,
yeah.
beat making, but also, I don't know, I'd be writing tunes like on paper too, honestly.
Yeah.
So kind of a combination of beat making and also like tune writing. And then maybe come up with 100 some odd ideas and then whittle it down to like these are the best 15 and like make an album, something like that.
Honestly, man, that's something I've always admired about the way you do it is that you kind of just like, you're like, look, you just got to go through the motions.
Yeah.
And then just, you got to make and make and make. And through doing so.
Yeah.
It's like you trust the process.
Totally. Yeah. I think people.
I need to do that more.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think as far as like composing and tune writing, like, you know, there's so much emphasis in jazz education and just being in the scene, there's like so much emphasis on like playing tunes and like playing, but also like writing music is so important.
Well, and honestly,
because every time you play a tune, someone wrote the tune. Like, write tunes.
And the thing is I feel like that's part of the ethos of jazz is all those guys wrote tunes.
They all wrote tunes. Very few guys didn't.
Yeah.
Like Oscar Peterson didn't write too many tunes. Art Tatum didn't write too many tunes. He wrote tunes, but not too many.
Would Cannonball come off? Would that be correct?
Cannonball wrote some tunes, right? Work Song, Sticks.
But I think Work Song is
didn't he write? Oh, maybe
I think it's his brother.
Okay. And then what about Mercy? Oh no, that's Joe Zawinul wrote that actually. But anyway. Oh no, he has a few like off of his he's got like One for Daddy-O and
okay.
He wrote tunes.
Yeah.
They're like blues tunes basically.
But hey, I think it's good. I think that I would like to do more of that because I feel like every time I write a tune, I love doing it. It's just a matter of finding time and really making an effort to do it.
Yeah.
Because you have to.
Yeah, do it. And also like, and I think like if you do aspire to make tunes, you should write a bunch of them because I think the notion that, people always say like Thelonious Monk had 73 compositions or something. It's like, no, he didn't.
He had way more.
He had fucking 3,000. I mean, he had to have.
I know. Yeah.
There's no fucking way.
Right.
There's no fucking way that of those 73 tunes, one of them was his first. All of them are all of the ones he recorded are like the best tunes ever. There's no way that was a first try. There's no fucking way. Yeah. And then, you look at Duke Ellington, who's also, probably considered the greatest composer ever in the 20th century. That guy composed some like 2,000 pieces or something like that. Wayne Shorter, there's no way the 100 some odd tunes are the only 100. Right. That motherfucker, you have to write like 1,000 tunes to write like that. Yeah. And I think like, you got to do it. Or like, Ray Brown, someone was telling me, who said this? This might have been Nate. I can't remember who told me this, but they said about Ray Brown. Nate said that he said, I write a tune every day so that I have one good one every month. Like, and this guy's not even known as primarily as a composer.
Right.
But he's from an era of a lot of great jazz composers. And so that should like give you an idea of like what the scale is, like how much these guys are actually writing. If you apply that, now it's a rough estimate, but 1 in 30, if you applied that to Monk's tunes, it's probably about, about 2,000. Right. Yeah. These guys wrote a lot. Yeah. They wrote a lot and they wrote every day. Benny Golson 100% was writing every day. It's not like, oh shoot, I guess I'll write a tune for the first time and it's stablemates. Like that's not how that's happening. Right. So that's why I write a tune every day. Yeah,
honestly, I need to do this more. This is something I need to really focus on more.
Dude.
I mean, I have tunes, but like you're right though. I need to make.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to write 2,000 tunes because I'm talking about the greatest to ever do it. But like there's a lot of room in between for your creativity to. But yeah, just write a tune every day for a week or two and like. I'll have so much fun.
I noticed too that like when I study these jazz tunes, like you kind of get the little isms that everyone has, like the Cole Porter isms, the Benny Golson isms, the what fill in the blank.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it's like it's kind of interesting because I feel like by learning all those tunes, you really see how they're writing, and then you can like use that to like find your own sound. At least that's what I try and do.
Oh, for sure.
Because like I'm into certain things that I'm just into. The way they sound, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. And I feel like it comes out in the tunes you write. Because you're just naturally, you like that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I got to do that more. That's something I need to really focus on. It's easy to get caught up. That's the one thing too, is that like, as a musician, it's easy to just play gigs all the time and then go run around here and go there. And then it's like, you don't spend enough time actually like trying to create.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to not do that, but
it's difficult, man.
Arguing with people online all day. No.
Can I see this guitar? Do you play this on your gigs?
No.
Or is this just your home guitar?
This is
That's what I was gonna say. That's the key, man. Because like if you don't have like a home setup that's separate from what you gig with, it's really hard to get. To be
honest, I never take out my gigging guitar unless I'm making a video. You know how many songs I've learned on this fucking thing?
Dude, hell yeah. That sounds amazing, by the way.
And I found this in my grandma's garage.
Hell yeah.
In Campo.
Get out of here.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
It's 1966, bro.
Bro, that's sick.
I didn't even realize
Dude, it sounds so good. It sounds so good. But yeah, because if you have to like, I was explaining this to somebody, one of the problems with like developing as a musician, especially like when you get out of music school, is like, let's say you get out of school and then you don't get a normal job and you're just like, I'm going straight music, like, which I didn't really do. I didn't have any gigs when I got out of school. Mm-hmm. But you know, if you take out your instrument and you put it in the gig bag and then you go to play a wedding and then you're in the hot sun and then, you know, you double park your car and then you get your gear out and then you go back in your car and you're in downtown, so you got to pay a lot or some shit and it sucks. And then you get back to the gig and then a drunk person's playing your keyboard and you're like, get the fuck off, Mike. What the fuck is going on? You like kick off the keyboard. Okay, now you start the gig. Right. You're already exhausted. You're sweating through your suit. Right. It's hard. Like, shit's so fucking hard. Yeah. And then like you get to the end of the gig and then when it's over, you go home and you get back at like 10:30. Right. You're not unpacking your keyboard. Right. And then like this used to happen to me like when I was in college. I would like the next morning I'd look at my keyboard in the bag and just be like, I'm
trying to set it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
And have you read Atomic Habits? Have you read that book?
No, I haven't.
It's a book about like how to make habits. How to make habits stick. And like the key is you got to make them easy. And like that's a really hard habit to keep going, practicing every day and writing every day when your keyboard's in a bag because you're playing it. So like, yeah, you need to have both. Yeah. Like, so I remember when I graduated school and I bought my piano, which by the way was the first purchase I made.
Is that the one you always play?
I still play it. It's the same one. I've had it for 10 years now. Yeah. Coming up on exactly 10 years. That one, and I recorded all my albums on it. I bought that before I even had I was still on like a cot on the floor,
Sick.
Bro. Piano, cot. No chairs. You come to my house, dude, you're sitting on a piano bench, dog. Or you're on the floor if I'm playing, dude.
I love it, dude.
Yeah, and but all that to say, yeah, that changed everything because then I had this thing that I never had to turn on, right? You don't have to turn that thing on.
Right.
It's just there. So I would like write every day and then it helped a lot. But yeah, that's something I was talking about this with my buddy with cartoons the other day about habit building when you're also doing music full time. It's very challenging because if you are the wedding gig guy and or the corporate gig guy or the bar gig guy or some combination of all those things, and then you don't have that setup at home to like write and record every day, I don't know. It's challenging. It's a hard thing to figure out. Or like for me, like, you know, like if I'm like, I remember for many years it was teaching, you know, if you get done with teaching for 4 or 5 hours and it's like,
draining,
oh boy, it's like really hard to do, you know?
Yeah, for sure, man. I totally see what you mean. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. How do you keep it going? Sorry. We've been talking forever. I can keep going, dude. I don't know.
No, it's great. I just got to make sure.
I'm the type of guy I can go forever. Am I ruining your shit?
No, it's great. You're making it.
Okay.
It's great. And everyone's going to love it. And if they don't watch it.
Dude. Yeah, dude. Jazz leave. How about that?
Oh God, this shit is funny. Oh man. All right, what else is on your mind, dude? What have you been thinking?
Dude, honestly, man, I coming into this, I was extremely excited, dude. You know, I love harmony, dude. I came up in San Diego. This is a fucking amazing place.
This guy calls me and he's like, "Hey,
I'm fired up."
He calls me, "Hey," and we start ranting, and I just was like, "Bro, can we please do a podcast?" He's like, "Yeah, how about right now?"
What are you doing right now,
baby? Let's
Jazz prove it, dude. Look. We haven't hung out that many times, but I have a feeling we're very similar because, dude, when I said, "What are you doing right now?" I had a feeling you're going to be like, "Let's fucking do it." I had a feeling. Also, I don't know, man. I feel like, honestly, if I'm feeling any lack of confidence about how I've performed on this podcast, is that I might not have been clear enough about about why I think calling it the minor one is not ideal. But
you're right. It's all right.
But basically the whole idea is it's just more stuff to think about. Let's not go into that. But
I know what you mean.
Wait, can I tell a story, dude?
100%.
I want to tell a story. I want to go in a completely different direction because I'm here. I'm in the city. I'm in my hometown. I'm feeling nostalgic, and I want to talk about the first time I ever played at Dizzy's because it's a funny story.
Wait, which one was Dizzy's? Which
when it was in the Wine and Culinary Center.
Oh, I
in
like
the Harbor
that.
Towers.
That was a cool one.
It was great.
Yeah.
The acoustics weren't ideal, but the vibe was insane.
The vibe was there.
The lighting and just the bottles in the background.
Yeah.
Also, that's the first place I ever saw live jazz. Saw Gilbert and Brian Levy playing.
Yeah, the first time
I think Mikon's Lakovic might have been playing.
Mikon's the man.
Mikon,
I want to get Mikon on
because
he's hilarious.
Beast, dude. Where is he from? Is he Croatian or
he's
Serbian? Serbian, okay.
Yeah. He's around, dude.
That last name, you got to be one of those.
I would love to get his take on this.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
I got to call him. I'm going to call him.
Dude, I need to be in San Diego in the scene, dude.
Bro,
get back in the scene, dog. Get me in there. Get me in there. Dude, I'm
going to tell Gil and Brian and everyone I saw you.
Dude, get me in there. Get me in there, man. I don't think Brian even knows who I am. You're talking about Brian Levy?
Yeah.
He has no idea who I am, but he's
about to.
Dude, but I love his playing.
Honestly, bro, I mean, this is totally separate, but like, do you ever do do you go to schools as guests, like a guest artist ever?
Rarely.
Okay.
But I want to do it more. I really want to do it,
I think
man.
you would be one of the best guest artists at I'm thinking at State because that's.
Oh, thanks, man. I'd love to go into State.
And
dude.
the thing is that all the kids
stuff,
know
man.
who you are. That's the other.
Let's
thing.
fucking go, dude. Get me in there.
I'm gonna tell Brian.
Hey, if you go to State, get me in there. If you're one of the current students, get me in there. I want to get in there.
I'm gonna tell Brian.
Dude, I have so much. Dude, you don't know me. I have so much, so many strong feelings of love about my being from here. And I want to connect, dude. It's time to get back, dude. And also, dude, that's why I hit you up today. I was like, let's get over there immediately. But dude, can I tell the story about the first time I played at Disney's, please? Go. Okay. So first off, I hit up Chuck Perrin. Shout out Chuck, you know what I'm saying? I hit up Chuck Perrin. I was 16.
Nice, wow.
This is 2008.
That's before I even found jazz, dude. Holy hell.
Dude, this is 2008.
No, that's not true. I had just found it. Sorry.
Dude. And I had gone to the level of confidence that I had was totally unfounded.
Okay.
I was ass, bro. But I'm going to play at Dizzy's because I love.
Yeah, because that was the spot.
That was the spot.
Yeah.
That was the all ages spot.
Yeah.
And I went to the UCSC Jazz Camp twice. So at this point, I'm like, I'm killing it.
I'm in.
I'm in there, dude.
Baby.
My confidence was so way higher than it should have been. Anyway, so I go to the UCSC Jazz Camp. I start studying with Bob Holtz. Rest in peace, Bob Holtz. He was this pianist who lived out in Spring Valley area.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, and then I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to play at Dizzy's. And I remember I emailed Chuck and I was like, hey, can I play here? And he was like, yeah, maybe. I sent some recordings. He was like, yeah. I mean, he was being really nice. Internally, he's probably like, these are whatever. It's just like a kid playing blues tunes. But and I was like, can I play here? And he's like, well, I am running a business. You got to sell tickets.
Right.
And I was like, how many people can fit in there? He's like, okay, well, I mean, if you sell 100, it'd be fine. I'm like, how many people fit in there? He's like, 200. I'm like, I'm going to sell 200 tickets, which is insane. Okay. For a 16-year-old.
If you're selling 200 tickets, you're
and really
killing
that's the moral of the story as I continue is that these are the behaviors of a crazy person. Okay. So let's walk through it now. So I'm not even worried about the music at this point. I'm so confident. I'm like, I got this.
Yeah.
Again, confidence. I'm not even thinking about the music. I'm like, I just need to get 200 people. Let's just figure that out.
Okay.
So I start categorizing all of the ways that I know all my friends. I'm like, okay, I play on a basketball team. I'm gonna hit up everyone. That's a terrible place to start, but I'm gonna hit up everyone on my basketball team. I'm gonna hit up the coach. I'm gonna hit up the assistant coach. I'm hitting up the ball boy. Everybody, dude, at my high school. I'm hitting up everyone at my theater program. Shout out San Diego Junior Theater. I was at San Diego Junior Theater. Hitting up everybody at that entire place. Everyone in my high school, everyone I knew from my middle school, neighbors. Okay.
Sick.
And then I
This
printed
guy's
out,
hustling.
I printed out like hundreds of flyers. I'm 16. No performance experience. Okay. I played at Chi Chocolat, this coffee shop in Little Italy at the time.
Sick.
Okay. I'm ready to go straight to the big leagues, dog. I'm ready. I'm headlining material. That's what I think about myself at this time in my life. All right. So I print out like hundreds of flyers. I go to my high school. I'm handing them out. I go to my basketball team, dude. I walk to people's houses, dude, because I couldn't drive yet. And I hand out these flyers. Okay. I'm rehearsing with shout out Griffin Kisner. I don't know if you remember him.
Wow. Yeah.
Shout out Griffin Kisner. And then there was a gentleman by the name of Brandon Zedeker who was playing bass.
Okay.
Who went to my high school. And then Tommy Holiday, dude, played guitar on like 2 tunes.
Yeah, dude, Tommy's the man.
Shout out Tommy Holiday, dude. Fucking
Wow,
beast, dude. That was my crew. Aiden Miles, Tommy Holiday.
Sick.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Okay.
love it.
Okay, so we're like rehearsing these tunes, and then on the day, okay, I'm 16, and I've never even led a band
Right.
before. Like, you realize how like there's like missing steps here, right? Okay, so we're rehearsing these tunes, and I start having my first ever experience of nerves.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Start realizing like,
shit.
I just noticed that my hands aren't really working. And I'm kind of missing stuff. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like, and I remember I hadn't really eaten because I couldn't really eat all day. Right?
Wait, this is at the
Like,
gig?
no, this is at my house. We were rehearsing
Okay.
the day of. Like, we'd been rehearsing all week, but now we're rehearsing the day of. I'm like sweating. And then the guys start being extra nice to me. They're being really gentle, which is making me more nervous. I'm like, oh, they can tell
Right.
that I'm nervous. Now I start making mental errors. I'm forgetting the arrangements. I'm forgetting how tunes end. I'm forgetting everything. I'm forgetting what key things are in.
Oh,
Okay,
I
I'm
love
like
it.
totally like
Yeah.
flop sweat.
Uh-huh.
And then I realized like there are going to be like 200 people coming to this. And then I go, and then I remember thinking like, what kind of delusional confidence would lead to a person? I'm like realizing this, like, what would lead a person to invite everybody they know to watch them do something
All your
that they've
peers.
never even done before? That's the behavior of an insane person. That's what I thought.
I love it.
And I remember thinking like, I should cancel this.
Uh-huh.
Like I should call Chuck and cancel this. I gotta tell my parents I need to help telling all these people don't come to this shit. I gotta go back through the Rolodex, hit up those hundreds of people who have no idea which of them are coming or not. But I wholesale have to announce I'm not doing this shit. We're not doing this. And then the only reason why I did it, I got my back against the wall. You know, I'm between a rock and a hard place. I'm either gonna like flop on my face or I'm gonna cancel this shit.
Right.
And I realized like the only thing more insane than inviting everyone you know to something you've never done before
Is to cancel it.
the thing after you did that. So I was like, well, I guess I gotta do it.
There we go,
And then I
baby.
showed up to the gig and dude,
How'd it
my
go?
basketball coach, my fucking my like math teacher, my girls I had a crush on in high school, multiple. Like, just every person I knew and their dog's stick was there.
Oh,
and
man.
like, had no choice but to start.
Wait, but how'd it go?
It went about as well as a 16-year-old playing jazz could go. Not great.
You know what my favorite folklore of jazz is? It's the Charlie Parker story.
Which one's that? The symbol they
where
throw
he
the symbol
goes,
on?
yeah. But I feel like you need to have these moments because
Dude.
we've all had these moments where you just get slammed.
Dude,
It's like bombing.
I mean, it was like, here's the thing. I was playing for like my friends. So like they were like, woo.
right.
You know, it was fine.
Right.
It actually was fine. Like when it was over, I was like, in my mind, I was like, this went fucking amazing because I showed up and did it,
Right.
which is the moral of the story.
You have to go through that though.
Yeah. The moral of the story is just show up, you know, and also like set goals that are outside of your comfort zone. Now, I wouldn't suggest like to this scale, like that's a pretty crazy like way to start a jazz career. A jazz career. That's a funny word, but a music career. That's how I started my music career. This is like an insane, like 200 tickets. I didn't sell that many tickets for another 10 years after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's insane.
Yeah, but you did something right. You did the part right.
I promoted the hell out of that show.
But you did that part right.
I remember Chuck Perrin like sending me links. I literally was looking at these emails like last week. I told you I've been getting like really sentimental about it, nostalgic about it. But I looked back, I read the emails.
You still have them?
Yeah, and he's like, here are the like, here's like the press like list, like contact list, like hit up KUSI and hit up
I see. Yeah.
You know, if you want to hit up so and so at the Jazz 88 website and they can put your thing up on the thing, like, which by the way, like, remember how they had the calendar on Jazz 88? That shit was so fire.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like, and I was like, I'm not gonna need any of that shit. I'm just gonna find everybody I know. You think I can't promote this show, Chuck? Dude, I was being crazy, Louie. I was being crazy. I remember being like, I don't need that shit. Watch this. And then the day of, I was like, oh, and this is a bad idea. So, yeah.
Oh, my God.
But then, yeah, because of that, like, it was a huge confidence boost. It was like, okay, like, now all I have to do is actually learn the music, which is the hardest part. But at least I can get on stage and play and like be like a headliner, so to speak, which is like a really early age to do that. And so then, I did like 2 or 3 more shows at Dizzy's. And then, I remember Danny Weller played on the next one, which is like fucking crazy for someone that age.
He's great. Yeah.
He was like so overqualified. He was just probably like, what the hell am I doing with this kid right now? But he played it. He was like a really good sport.
That's
and like,
cool, man.
Played it. And then, so yeah, man. That story is
funny.
just funny to me.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. Fucking ridiculous.
All right, dude. I have to go.
Anyway, we got to go, dude. We got to get out of here.
You guys know where to find this guy. Go follow him. See what up. Buy his shit. Go to his shows.
Thanks, Louie.
Yeah, bro. Thanks
dude,
for coming
I got to
over.
catch you tonight, man.
I'm just playing some like Afro-Cuban gig with Bill. Honestly, Bill Caballero. Do you know him?
No, I'm not
He's
familiar.
this older trumpet player. He honestly, I learned to play Afro-Cuban music from going to his sessions.
Sick.
So that's who I'm playing with tonight.
Dude, let's go, man.
So, anyways, all right. KIEFER, thanks for coming. Go follow his stuff. Check it out. Come say hi in San Diego, whatever. You know the drill. Jazz Prove It.
Jazz Prove It.